Consumer protection's all the rage right now. Wrong scene. Consumer protection's all the rage right now. And we've got a video that I just put up on the channel about what I think is a very big need in the realm of the discussion of consumer protection, and that is refunds. So be sure to check out that video. This is largely going to be a discussion about what I said in the video, sort of the experience of players. You know, are there games that, man, you really wish you could refund? I've already seen a couple of comments from people that are like, oh my gosh, you know, I've had so many games where I don't even get an hour and a half in, I don't even get 2 hours in, and I wish I could get my money back. So if you want to see that video, about a 20-minute video on the topic, we also have a link in the description of that video to the Stop Killing Games initiative. They've had a boost in signatures. It looks like they may be able to get the required amount. They're largely pushing against, you know, consumers having games taken away from them, which is sort of the other side of the coin of this issue. Like, if you can take a game away from me, why can't I give it back to you? I mean, that's, I think, a very logical way of looking at this, and that is essentially how we approach the subject. And I'd be curious what you guys think. How could this be implemented? Are there unforeseen problems that could come from this? You know, I think there obviously could be some issues that could arise. You know, with the fact of, like, there's always something or loopholes or ways that people can abuse the system. Obviously, I think that you could have protections put in place. I don't think it would be this primary concern, problem, or, like, again, I'm erring always on the side of, like, protecting the consumer, giving the consumer more power, because that is something that I think keeps everything more in balance. I think one of the reasons, and I touch on this in the video, one of the reasons people feel like they don't have power and they're angry or frustrated, there's a lot of, like, us versus them dialogue out there in gaming right now, and I think a lot of that's because people do feel powerless. It's like, well, we don't really have any control over anything. Like, we buy games that are bad. We buy games that aren't ready, and then we're just stuck with them, you know? And I know people on Steam will say, well, we don't have that problem. Yeah, but there's, you know, 3 major platforms where that is currently a problem, you know, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox. Have you heard about the controversy with Ready or Not, how the devs have altered the console version of the game because higher censorship on both consoles not even an option? I saw that it was getting review bombed for that reason. I think that's a little bit strange. Like, was it out of the devs' control? Like, was it something that they basically had to do, I guess would be my question. Ever since the beginning of gaming, returns were not a thing. If the game was unwrapped, you could only return for another copy of the game. Yes. And largely some of that was because of concerns about you could take the game home and beat it and come back a couple of days later and want your money back. Like, think about the length of games, you know, back in the day. You could beat a game and then a week later go get your money back. You know, you got a 14-day return policy or 30-day return policy. For some people, that's like more than enough time to beat the game. So you've taken the product home, you've consumed it, and now you're trying to get a full refund. That would be like trying to return an empty 2-liter bottle, and you're like, well, I didn't like it. You know, it's like, well, you consumed the product. So I get why you couldn't necessarily pull this off with physical games, because there would be no way to know. Yeah, we also had rental stores. This is true. So you did have a way around that. Like, we had a rental store, like a block from my house, Tip Top Video. And I remember going there, and that was always the most amazing thing, when they had the game that you had been waiting to play and it was available. Thank you, Lone Wolf, for 3 months, starting off the day for us here. Han shot first, and so did you. The member battle yesterday was almost a dead even tie as it went to Team YouTube there. 66 to 64, but oops, let's see, it's not 3, it's that he was subbed for 3 months. Thank you so much. We've been having some issues lately, and we are hoping to kind of start turning that around with the format maybe, and increase in the uploads as well. So if you guys are seeing the content, if you're seeing the uploads, if you're seeing the live streams, click on a man, come in. If you're watching right now, go crazy on the like button. I'm going to be replying to your comments to my video. Gamers want refunds. You guys over there on Purple, if you manage to miss the video, I'll put a link in chat. Give that video some love. Go watch it, like it, leave a comment, and then come back and join the discussion. That is what we are talking about today. In Sweden, we have 14-day return policy when buying online, but when I buy games, I must check in a box to give up that. Oh, really? You watch it. I replied to your comment, Hilly. I appreciate your comment. Appreciate all the comments. Lone Wolf's also going to be tying it up between Team Red and Team Blue. He gifts a member over here for YouTube. Thank you so much for doing that, man. Han shot first, and so did you on both platforms. Lone Wolf's just going to take the crown on both platforms today. Thank you so much. And he's going to do another one and bump the line to 185. We're officially 15 away. We're a little behind pace. That's okay. It's only halfway through the week. We are going to have to make the stretch goal this week a Saturday stream because 4th of July, we've got plans. So, Perfect Image submitted a question with the question command and said, this is why I buy physical games. Digital games can get deleted. Why companies can't keep games without latest updates? Why can't I trade with a friend? Well, I mean, there's a lot of complexities to your question there, like why can't you keep games without the latest updates? I mean, a lot of the times the issue is going to be that the game that you buy on the disc was put on the disc months ago, and they continued making improvements. I think a lot of people have demonized day one patches, which I think that's an error to do that. I don't think day one patches are a problem. People try to use day one patches as sort of some symptom of a problem within game development. I actually think day one patches are a good thing. It's a sign that the developer is committed to the game all the way up until the very last moment that it releases, right? Like, they may be continuing to find bugs. They may be continuing to find glitches. And that's a good thing for you. That's not a problem. So that, I think, is something that's been largely misrepresented at times, because when a game goes gold, they have to get a version ready to put on the disc. They have to get a version ready to push out to the storefront so you can preload if it's a preloadable game. Excuse me. So if it's a preloadable game, they push it to the servers. If they're shipping physical, they're putting it on the disc. But they keep working on the game. Maybe there was an issue with Mission 19. Maybe there was an issue with one of the open world environments. Maybe there was an issue with an NPC or something. I would say that those are not bad for them to do. Like the digital argument, you're not making any sense. So what do you mean just digitally? You got to expound on what you're saying, and you're saying, why can't you trade with a friend? I mean, if you're trying to trade a license with a friend, again, I would not advocate for that. I think you're automatically creating an environment that could be abused with trading of licenses. Everybody could buy, like, let's say it's my turn to buy the game. I buy the game, and then I trade with you, trade with you, trade with you, trade with you. Well, the gaming companies, the publishers, the platforms, they would lose so much money in that deal. I mean, that's not ideal for them at all. They would never be okay with that. And honestly, that would be abused severely. You'd have people almost never buying a game. Physically, I can trade. That's an advantage to physical. I mean, the disadvantage that you have with digital is that, number one, yes, you can't do that. And number two, you're doing it for the convenience of just downloading it. Just being able to trade something digitally, I think you're opening up an enormous door for quasi-piracy at that point, just allowing people to kind of like circulate a game and never spend any money. This is not about empowering consumers to not spend money. That's not what this is about. Advocating for refunds is empowering the consumer to be protected from bad products. This is what I think happens a lot of times in these discussions. There are gamers in the mix who are essentially trying to bend everything to their frugality. They don't want to spend any money. They want to spend as little as possible. And I get that. Not everybody has the same amount of disposable income to spend on their hobby of choice. But the purpose of refunds, or the purpose of Stop Killing Games, is to protect us from either bad practices of like taking a game away, or to protect consumers against bad products. Do you see? I'm not trying to advocate for something that lets you not spend money. Like that I'm not interested in that. Like, oh yeah, let's advocate for something to where you don't have to spend money. You can buy the game once and circulate the game. and then it's your buddy's turn, and then he buys the next game, and then you circulate that game, and then the next guy buys a game, and you circulate that game. Diminishing the amount of revenue going into the gaming industry is not a good idea. Like, you want games, and this is something I talked about in the video, you want the good actors to be rewarded. You want good games to be rewarded. You know, a breakout indie title, a AA game, a AAA game that's actually ready to go at launch and high quality, right? You want those companies to be rewarded and to be profitable so that they then do it again. You don't want to empower the consumers to basically take advantage and give these companies less money. That is absolutely destructive. You don't want that. What you want is you to be protected from the bad actors. And I even talk about, you know, the ability to try more games out would be a benefit of gamer refunds. Like, you would try more games, and you might find some that kind of blow your socks off that you never would have found, and now you're probably completing more games because you're only really keeping the games you're vibing with, you know. Except for Suicide Squad, you owe me $40 for that one. Creature 2. I don't owe you anything. Thank you so much for 31 months. Pac-Man on a Bike says, yo, it's a resub. Thank you so much. I have never, and not once have I ever told anybody to buy a game. Every time somebody says, do you think I should buy it? I always answer the same way. I say, I don't tell people whether or not they should buy a game. I stream it, I give you my feedback on it, and then you can make a decision. So you made your own choice, so own it. I mean, I put the game on display, talked about the pros, the cons, and I ended up within, I think, the month of the game's release, owning the fact that I was wrong about it. I still thought the core game was fun. My wife and I rolled credits on it. We had a good time with it, and then everything after that was not worth a second glance. So I don't think I owe you anything. You made your own choice as a consumer. Ready or Not, Void said that they adjusted the level of gore nudity in the game because of the console. They said maintaining multiple versions with different assets and mechanics increase bugs. I mean, if they did it because they were sort of required to, I don't know why anybody would be review bombing them. I think people are too quick to jump to like, oh, you're censoring, you're doing this because you're bad. It's like, maybe they did it because they had to. I mean, if the consoles are basically making them do it, what were they supposed to do? Not ship the game on console? Would you have rather them done that, I guess? I am Zero. Thank you so much for subscribing with your Prime over here, taking the member count to 187. I appreciate that so much. And then the member battle's going to jump here to 3-2. Thank you very much. I followed your recommendation. I did not recommend that you buy the game. That's false. I did not recommend. I don't do that. I have been asked that question for the last decade, and I always answer it the same way. Lono, do you think I should buy this game? And I'm like, I never tell anybody whether or not they should buy a game. I give you my feedback on what I think, and then you can make a decision. So I don't, what you're saying is not accurate. I never once said, oh yeah, you should definitely buy this game. I'm always very careful with that particular question so that nobody can ever come back and be like, well, you told me to buy it. I'm like, no, I didn't. I don't do that. I avoid that question because I never know what your preferences are, what your proclivities are. Not in those words. I mean, okay. Let's go to the question here in the... oh, I'm sorry. I thought somebody submitted a question. Is the question command not working? I thought I saw somebody submit a question. In any case, I'm pro-frugal, says Hilly, but it's about having patience and using discernment within the market presence, not bending the markets to your frugality. Like, FOMO doesn't work if you overcome that desire. I'm pro-frugal, but it's about having patience and using discernment within the market. Well, right. Bending the market to your frugality and having patience. I mean, you can... There's an insane amount of money you can save if you're patient, for sure. I mean, especially if you use Steam, especially. Everybody on YouTube, really quickly, do me a quick favor and smash that like button. Try to get us to the first 100 likes of the day. These days, digital content companies just delist them. Perfect example, Sony and Ubisoft. Digital content companies just delist them. Perfect example, Sony and Ubisoft. I'm not sure what you're talking about. What are you referring to, I Am Zero, that has been delisted by Sony and Ubisoft? What are the games? Because I know there's at least one that people have been pretty upset about with Ubisoft. What are the other games, though, that you're referring to? Yeah, we all know about The Crew, but he said Sony. What has Sony delisted? I've not heard of this. We've all heard about The Crew. I thought they walked that back on The Crew. Didn't they fix that? I thought when we followed that, they said that they had fixed that. I like Steam. The discounts are presented well. I have some protection. People who spend the most drive the market, says Siriu. People constantly crap on games as a service, but that's where the paying customers are. If you aren't spending, then no one will cater to you. There is a certain degree of truth to that, where like if you're frugal to a fault, you give yourself zero voice in the discussion, right? You don't have a say in what's going on. You're not. How can you voice your with your wallet if you're not buying anything, right? Like if you're basically just sort of on the sidelines, just yelling about everything, and you're not actually buying anything. Well, that's why I've been saying recently, throw your support behind a game if you think it's one of the ones that deserves it. Like buy it, support it, play it, recommend it to your friends. I don't know, why did it start a hype train on purple? Joker Quinn gifts a member over here on YouTube. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Takes us to 188. It is now 422. Thank you so much. That's kind of my point. You can do it, but you can't demand it as no one hears you. Day off and lurk. Happy hump day. What's good, Whiskey? They said they're giving the Crew 2 and the Crew Motorfest offline modes in an update later, but the Crew 1 is just gone. Okay, so that's what they did. I could not remember. I appreciate the update, Bones Zero. I knew they had, like, attempted to, like, quell people's anger about it, but they still took the Crew away. What Sony games were dislisted? I am Zero. You still haven't answered the question. Old games, Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed, and Driver San Francisco. Yo, Pac-Man on a bike upgrades to VIP. Upgrades count as 2, so I'm bumping the line to 6-2 in the battle, and we are officially 10 members away from 200. Remember, every 25 I give 5. Whoever makes this hit 200, I'm going to gift your platform 5, so let's see who does it. You're not giving examples, though. Where has Assassin's Creed 2 been delisted? What are you referring to? Was that delisted from like a specific store? I feel like I would have seen that because that's a pretty big game. Assassin's Creed 2 delisted. Ubisoft has bricked Assassin's Creed 2 on Steam, but it's still being sold. It has been delisted on certain platforms due to Ubisoft shutting down online services for older titles. Okay, so it looks like they did delist Assassin's Creed 2 in a handful of places. Okay, this is what the Stop Killing Games initiative is about. You haven't listed any Sony games, though. I mean, what is the games that you're saying they've delisted games? What are they? It's been 8 years since Driver San Francisco was delisted from all digital platforms. Okay. Is that a Sony game? Is that their game? No, that's a Ubisoft game. Okay. Okay, so we've got Assassin's Creed 2 from a couple of storefronts. We've got The Crew, and then we've got Driver San Francisco like 8 years ago. Okay. Again, the list is not super long, and they're all Ubisoft games. Like, where are the Sony games? You said Sony's delisting games. Example would be old Forza Horizon games. They delisted, they're not for sale, but if you own the game, you can still play it. Oh, well, yeah, that's actually different as well. If a game is delisted and you can no longer buy it, that's in the realm of game preservation. If you can still play it as long as you own it, then that's not in the realm of what we're talking about. If a game gets delisted and they're no longer selling it, yeah, that could be a licensing deal, exactly. That might not necessarily be like, they're not revoking access, they just can no longer sell it because the license is expired or whatever. I mean, you're going to get into that with some of those titles, sports titles, car titles, and things like that, because they're in agreement with third parties about elements inside the game. And then once they can no longer sell it, That's a contractual thing at that point. Drive Club from Sony is delisted. So did they revoke access or did they just delist it? You're saying Drive Club. Drive Club delisted. Again, these are separate subjects. You're talking about something that is then no longer to be, it's taken offline as well, this says. This happened in 2020. Sony has delisted the title from the PlayStation Store. More than that, the servers will be shut off. Okay. The developer made it clear they had plans to support the game post-launch. Ultimately, the game you had to buy at launch will be the doorway to a wider experience, they said. Once it went live, things fell apart. They had significant server problems. They had to delay certain things. Eventually, they got back on track, but the reputation was in tatters. So they closed the studio in 2016. So this is like 9 years ago, it looks like. They largely concluded the Drive Club's transformation, but what a transformation. It went from being delayed to launching with server trouble. Okay, now you'll no longer be able to purchase it, and the online features, so core to the experience, are disabled. So it looks like you're still able to play all non-online features of the game, but they delisted it because they would have been selling an incomplete product. Silver Subaru with the VIP, 53 months, almost 4.5 years. Let's go. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Silver Subaru. I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you. And then let's bump the line here. Thank you very much. Let's read some of the comments on the actual. You guys are switching topics on me way too soon, so I'm going to be a little bit strict on that. We're not talking about delisting games or unlisting games. We're talking about refunds. That's the topic, and we're going off course almost immediately. I know these are tangentially related, but I want to read some of the comments people left on the video and on topic. Ryan Hare says, I really wish refunds were easier on console. Recently bought the first Kingdom Come Deliverance, and after an hour and a half, it just wasn't my vibe. If I want a refund, I'd have to call Microsoft and complain and request one. The fact that there is no tab where I can click request refund in 2025 on console is absurd. Have the same rules as Steam. It should be simple. Even Steam makes you go to another place. You can't just do it right on the game. I even think Steam should simplify it. I think it should be like right there on the game or right there where the game is in the store. You know, the argument that I made in the video is the ease with which I get a game and buy it. I should be able to refund it just as easily. I shouldn't have to go to another page. I shouldn't have to submit a ticket. I shouldn't have to do a request. It should just be a reversal of the transaction, right? Steam gets the applause for being the only platform adequately protecting consumers in this way. And listen, I argue that in the video. I argue this in the video. What do you guys think of this? A lot of these games that are breaking out and going viral, and they're like a $10, $15 little scrappy indie game, do you guys agree with me? I think one of the reasons that happens is because of refunds. I think people are more willing to take a risk on a little scrappy game because they're like, well, if it sucks, I can get my money back. If it's no good, I can refund it. I think that's why Steam is the place that these games keep going viral, like Repo and Schedule 1 and others. It's because, well, I can get my money back. It's going to be a lot harder for a game like that to have virality or that kind of all of a sudden crazy moment on a console because you can't get your money back. You're like, well, I don't want to buy a $15 goofy looking little silly game. What if it sucks, right? Like, what if I don't like it? I think that Steam literally empowers the smaller games to go viral because you can refund. You did that with Fall of Avalon over Oblivion. Yeah, I think Steam's policy is great. I just think it should be a little bit more streamlined. I don't think you should have to go to different pages or do different things. I think it should be right there. Let's do this. All right. Let's read a couple more comments on refunds here. Oh golly, we've got a lot. Let me scroll all the way down. I want to go to the more older comments. 30 minutes ago from Pac-Man on a Bike, he says, there have been a bunch of games that I've been interested and wanted to try, but I haven't pulled the trigger, knowing that I might drop 70 and it might not be exactly what I wanted. It has kept me from buying. This is a huge issue with no refunds. This is an enormous issue with no refunds. Nobody's taking those risks. And listen, this is related to other subjects and other things that we've talked about. It's a deluge of games. There's just so many games that come out. You feel that choice paralysis. Yo, thank you, Ashen, for 46 months. Greetings, chat. Found any Titanite shards? I appreciate that so much. Takes the battle to 8-2, and the member count just trundling along. Nobody really stealing glory these days. This has been a very strange week. We are 8 away from the 200 milestone, and it is just dangling there. Usually if it can be one with a 5 or a 10 bomb, somebody steals it. Whoever hits it gets it. So check your primes, check your renewals, YouTube. You guys can get us a little bit closer. Perfect Images, I would argue as a consumer, digital games don't delete and want to trade with a friend with ease. Trading would be too easy to exploit. Yeah, it'd be too easy to exploit. And I never want to advocate for something that takes money out of the industry. Like, I am not trying to empower you to save money. I'm empowering you to be saved from bad games. Like, they're completely different aims. I'm not trying to turn this into like Groupon for video games where like people are actively harming the businesses. Did you guys remember that? All those articles that came out that like Groupon was actually like harmful to small businesses and things like this because it was like basically giving people discounts that were far too good. I'm trying to protect you from bad games. I'm trying to empower consumers to be protected. I'm not trying to empower you to save money. Like, you can save money on your own. You can be frugal, you can budget, you can wait for sales, right? You can wait for reviews and make very selective purchases. That's something you can do with your own will, your own volition. What I'm trying to do is give you an ability you don't presently have that offers that layer of protection that hurts the bad actor video games and then rewards the good actor video games. There's no need for trading. None of that needs to change. It's about recourse if you buy a game that you will not extract value from. This is exactly correct. It's not about you being able to trade or save money. It's about being spared an awful product. Like, you should not have to keep an awful product. Imagine going back to Target with like a busted vacuum cleaner and they're like, yeah, sorry, you can't return it. We didn't make it. It's like, well, wait, what do you mean? What am I supposed to do with this thing? Right? That would be terrible. What that would do is that would harm consumer spending. You'd have people that would be like, I don't want to spend money on these products now. I don't know if they're any good. I've gotten burned too many times. There are reports coming out as well about like the younger generation is playing less games. They're engaging in more social aspects of content, right? They're watching IRL streams. They're watching the tickety talk, right? That's sort of the next generation's proclivity shift. Like, they're not necessarily playing games as much. Some of that could literally be because you buy a game, it stinks. You're like, I'm kind of tired of this, right? You've got limited amounts of money that you can spend. Did you see where Wins Meets trailer looks incredible? Also, it's a PlayStation console exclusive, but PS5 has no games. Where Wins Meet is a PS5 exclusive. Didn't that go into beta a little while ago? I feel like that was in beta. I can't remember now. If you guys are just tuning in, we're debating gaming refunds. And if you're watching on Purple, I can provide you with the link to the video that I put up this morning. If you haven't watched it yet, the link's in chat. Give it an old watch-a-rooney. And then you guys over here on YouTube, it's on the channel. I can provide a link for you guys as well if you'd like. What in the world's going on? Why can't I copy that text? There are things that my computer does that if it was a person, I would probably be in jail with what I would do to my computer. I would be in jail. I would harm it greatly. It's like I highlight the text, I hit Control-C, and my computer's just like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to copy the text. It's doing this thing now where I'm saving images, and it's giving them a timestamp of 2018. So when I go to Windows Explorer and I sort by date modified because I want the newest image at the top for my thumbnails, they're not there. They have the date of 2018, and I can see my calendar's 2025. It's like, what in the world? It's like, listen, if we ever get robots, I will not be able to own a robot. I will become a very bad person if I owned a robot, because I would treat it terribly. I would be so mean to it. Technology takes me to the red zone instantly. AOZ left a comment on my video about refunds. I think this is a great start, but I do think more critical analysis needs to be put into the duration of how long they get to try. Some games have small campaigns, and large multiplayer or puzzle games and fighting games have almost everything to lose from 2 hours. Thoughtful exemptions will make these policies last a long time. Also, there needs to be consideration for retaliation. Example, some retailers have denied purchase outright to consumers that refund constantly, which, while this is fair in extreme cases, people may fear and not exercise rights and that they have safely. Yes, of course. Of course, smaller games need protected. Yeah, I mean, you definitely. I think it would be extremely rare for somebody to be like, well, they beat our game in 2 hours. Thank you so much, Savage Sharkbite, for 46 months. I appreciate it so much. That gets us to 193. And that gets, it's a 9/2 in the battle on the day. Purple, you're lagging behind today. Only two on the day. Wait, hang on. No, we should have 3 for you guys. I didn't get Veladius. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Veladius, you resubbed for 23 months. I am so sorry that I didn't see this. It says almost 2 years after much time and struggle. So happy to be supporting you again. I am so sorry that I did not see that. That takes the member battle to 9/3, but it's about to heat up. I can see somebody on YouTube's doing something. So it's going to be 194. I'm sorry. 194. And it's going to be a 204 with a 10 bomb from Siriu. He secures it. That was just dangling there. It's kind of Siriu's week. He's been one of the few, one of the proud of the gifters there. Sorry, Marines, I'm not trying to steal your slogan, but yes, thank you so much, Siriu, for the 10 bomb. My daughter's 10 years old and watches the game streams, and she didn't like any, and she sticks to Animal Crossing. Hellblade 2 is out there. I mean, I know you're being cheeky. You cannot beat Hellblade 2 in 2 hours. It's not possible, okay? It is not possible. Let's just scroll down here and see what some people are saying here. I hate what console gaming has become. In what ways? I mean, the lack of refunds, not really an indictment of console gaming. I've been having a great time with all the games this year that I've been playing, whether it's been Death Stranding 2 or Expedition 33 or some of the smaller titles that I played. I mean, I don't know. I've been thoroughly enjoying my PS5 Pro. I was enjoying my PS5 before that. I mean, you'd have to expound on what you mean by console gaming. I mean, the lack of refunds is, again, I don't feel an indictment of console gaming. I feel like it's more of a system, like a systemic problem within digital sales. It's like we just aren't protected. There's like, no, you can't get your money back. Even if you avoid Steam on PC, you're going to run into the same problem. Like if you use Uplay or some of the other storefronts historically. Actually, I don't know this. I didn't look into this. How does Epic handle refunds? There's a rumor that Everwild is canceled. I am going to do my due diligence researching the issues going on with the layoffs, but I don't want to hijack today's show about it. I don't like to do pivots, right? That would be sort of a raucous pivot to suddenly be talking about that. So I'm going to look into that. It obviously stinks, and it could affect game development and studios in a significant way. We're going to wait for the full scope of the story so I can research it and adequately cover it. I don't want to do something half-cocked on something that is that large and that damaging to people's livelihoods. Thank you so much, Stone Spire, for a single. I know what Stone Spire's doing. I know what he's doing. This guy is so faithful with this, and it is 205. So he's hoping to tempt a 20 bomb to 225. At 225, I have to gift a member to your platform. So Zelda Heart submitted a question and says, is it possible for game companies to use their demos as a good defense for not offering refunds? That is assuming most games have demos. I don't think demos are a defense. They're a goodwill gesture. Like, you don't... Here's the thing. Let's say a developer does a demo, okay? They're not the ones refusing to give me the refund. The refund policy is at a store level. So when I go to Target and I buy a toaster and I want to return it, the manufacturer of the toaster can't be like, no, they can't refund that. No, Target's like, that's our refund policy. They bought it from us. We're the storefront, right? So PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox, that's the storefront. They should have a refund policy. And listen, they're not going to do it unless the government forces them to. This is where we need government protection. So, and listen, the Stop Killing Games initiative is a good initiative. They've had a spike in signatures. If you guys are, European citizens, you can go to the website and you can support it and try to help them get there. The other side of that coin is what I'm talking about, which I think is of equal importance. Listen, if you can take games away from me that easily, I should be able to give them back just as easily. You can push a button and I don't have access to your game anymore. Okay, fine. I should be able to push a button and give it right the frick back to you. Here you go. Take it back. Don't like it. Don't want it. It's buggy. It's crap. It stinks. It sucks. It's not fun. Whatever the reasons are. Whatever the reasons are. The silver lining of Stop Killing Games getting all this attention from like the negative stuff that happened, the silver lining is I think more people are now becoming keenly aware of the fact that like you're not protected as a consumer like at all in this arena. You have no recourse when you buy a crap game. You have no recourse when someone just bans you unjustly from their game. You're just like stuck. You're like, oh, okay. I can scream into the void of space, I guess, on, Twitter or make a YouTube video. But outside of that, there's not a whole lot you can do. So consumers should be protected in this regard. You should be able to get a refund on a digital item because you are buying something that can quite literally be a scam or a bill of goods or, a fake piece of trash. Government's cooked. They're not going to do crap. I don't know. They have certainly acted, in many ways and broken up problems and fined different companies, in the last couple of years. I have no recourse if I praise the Obi-Wan show and Lono bans me for life. This is true. What's good, Ice Queen Gaming? Citizen JV left a comment here on the video. If you guys haven't seen the video yet, I'll put a link in chat if you feel like giving an old watch-a-rooney. You guys on Purple and on YouTube, you can give it a watch. There's the link there. It's called Gamers Want Refunds. Citizen JV says the refund calls are not merely about gamers inquiring about their money back one by one. It's a wake-up call for developers and publishers that the community will hold them responsible for what they launch. Refunds are expensive, but it is also a great learning process. If players listen to gamers complain and fix the issues, I think you meant to say if developers listen to players complain and fix the issues that are prompting refund requests, then they can make the games better and regain the confidence of their audience. Exactly. I cover that in the game. In the video about this, I'm sorry. In the video about, gamers want refunds, gaming refunds. You have no recourse against the bad actors right now. And are you going to try out something that you're sort of on the fence on? Probably not. But if you can get your money back, you can. I mean, I think it's a win on both sides. It's a win on both sides. And I know somebody might say this. They might say, well, wouldn't somebody, just try a game and return it and try a game and return it and try a game and return it? Well, okay, let's imagine if somebody did that. The question I would have is, why is that a problem? Like, why is that a problem? Like, you would end up, I actually argue this, I think you'd see an increase. I think you'd see an increase in completion percentages in games. It's a problem because it costs fees. That would probably be one of the dilemmas, is that it would be costly. Yeah, credit card fees, exactly. You know what? I actually think consumers would be okay if they got the ability to do refunds and you just had to eat the credit card fee. So when you buy a game and you don't like it, you're out like, what would it be, like $2 or something? That'd be far better than what we have now. That'd be so better, much better than what is now. You know what I mean? Like, well, yeah, that's fine. I bought a $70 game, and I get back $68 or $67. Well, I'd much rather take that than what we currently have. Like, do you want to get back $67 or $0? Well, this is a conundrum, isn't it? Like, I get not charging the customer for it. Like, I'm not saying that they should, but I'm saying if that's the main barrier, then just charge the consumer the $2 on the refund, and then they'd probably be happily, maybe they might be a little less reckless. They wouldn't be like buying and refunding 10 games in an entire day, because that would cost them $20 to do that at the end of the day. You know, they just keep refunding and getting charged like a $2 fee. So it would certainly, you know, be a slight deterrent, but it would still be better than what we currently have. It's basically a 2% restocking fee. Yeah, like, it isn't fair for PlayStation to foot the bill of Mind's Eye getting refunded. Does that make sense? I totally agree with that. Like, PlayStation shouldn't be sitting here just handing out, you know, credit card fees, like, because all these refunds are happening. Like, no, I'm fine with saying that that's something the consumer might have to like bear that burden, but then at least we'd be able to refund, you know, the vast majority of the money that we spend. Yeah, guys, I appreciate you coming in and bringing up the layoffs. I'm not going to cover it until I can adequately research it. It's going to be developing throughout the day, and sadly, I do not want to cover something that significant in such a haphazard way. This is, you know, people are probably having their entire, you know, livelihoods put in jeopardy. It's a terrible time for this to be happening. If you guys haven't done so yet, please smash the like button on the YouTube video. Try to get us to 200 likes. Turnout on live streams has been extremely unpredictable, and one thing that really helps us is when you come in, hit the like button, and you're chatting, and you're gifting, and you're renewing, and you're doing all the things. Same thing on Purple. I think we really got hurt on Purple by changing the name. As soon as we changed the name, our viewership has dropped significantly over on Purple. I think people bookmarked the channel, and now they're like, where the heck is he? But I would imagine if you come to Purple, you would see me still there. We changed the name last week, I think, and ever since we've taken a bit of a hit over there as well. Problem with Game Pass is I think it misses quality of the game. You also changed category. This is true. I'm happy to switch back. That doesn't really have much to do with followers tuning in, but we are definitely in a smaller pond over here. We thought maybe it was better for exposure to be closer to the top of a smaller directory instead of buried in a big directory. So, Prezer says, if refunds were easy, devs would need to make sure their games were in acceptable state. That won't happen. This is true. Need the government to force this. You need the government to force this. It's a matter of consumer protection is what it is. And that's what they're there for. What are you asking for is breathing ground for scammers. I should be able to return my Blu-ray after I watch it. Yeah, that's going to go well. Obviously didn't watch the video. Yeah, you obviously didn't watch the video. That's like quite literally addressed in the first 60 seconds of the video. We're talking about digital purchases, not physical. So maybe watch before replying to a thumbnail like a dolt. CMLS comment says, Corey, Let's see here. I think that if there is refund, the stop to abuse might be, instead of a full refund, games have like a $10 restocking fee, refund a game less than 2 hours, and you get all but $10. I think 10's too steep. Yeah, I think 10's too steep, Corey. I think you should just have to pay for the credit card fee, because again, like, let's say this happens with a game like Mind's Eye. PlayStation should not be sitting there footing the bill for all those refunds. They didn't make the dadgum game. Xbox shouldn't be footing the bill either. Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo should not be having to pay for thousands upon thousands of people refunding a game in a day because somebody, shoved out some piece of garbage. Does that make sense? Like, Mind's Eye would have been refunded, like, hand over fist. And excuse me. And the last thing you want is the storefront footing that bill. Like, they didn't make the game. You know what I mean? Angry Pete submits a question. Amazon makes book loaning work on Kindle. Why couldn't game loans work the same way? You designate the person to get it. They get it for 2 weeks, and it's automatically removed. Well, because I would imagine books and the margins of profit needed on a book are vastly different. Like, listen, you're talking about gamers here. It's a very different ethos of consumer. It's also a very, very different amount of money needed for something to be successful. And again, I have two minds here. There are people who have come into this chat and they call me a corporate shill, or they leave comments and call me a corporate shill. I have literally zero interest in helping consumers find ways and loopholes to spend less money. I have no interest in that. Listen, most of the people that do this approach gaming in an extremely parasitic way. Like, they find loopholes, they find shortcuts, they're doing everything they can to not spend money in the industry. And I'm not sitting here trying to come up with ways for you to do that. If you want to be frugal and you want to save money and you want to make sure you're not like overspending, that's something you can do with your own judgment, volition, and self-control. You can wait for sales. You can be more choosy on the games you purchase. I'm trying in this video and me promoting this idea, I'm trying to protect you from a bad product. I feel like there are gamers that literally come to gaming and their entire MO, their entire identity is it's this animosity towards the devs and the publishers, and they're like, I'm going to spend the absolute least amount of money I can. I don't want to support the games. I don't want to support the studios, the publishers. You basically act like everything is a greed machine that is unworthy of your dollary dues. And it's like, if that's the way you want to approach gaming, that's fine. That's not my interest. I'm not interested in helping you be frugal. I'm interested in protecting you from scams or bad games. Excuse me. I got like a... Hang on. The frugal revenge gamers are the weirdest bunch. There's just this undercurrent of us versus them in the dialogue right now. Every other day I see a YouTube video that is waging some invisible war against game companies and studios and publishers. And it's like, your best weapon is not being like, I'm not going to spend any money. Your best weapon is giving the money to the studios and games that deserve it. You elevate them and lift them up. Because then what studios and publishers are going to start to do is they're going to say, man, the consumers are all flocking to this type of game, or the consumers are all supporting these types of games. Well, we need to do that, right? One of the things I've been saying that might come out of all of this with the $80 and $70 games is you're going to make room in the market for $50 games like Expedition 33, and major publishers and developers are going to start saying, maybe we should do smaller projects. Maybe we should try to do like, parallel development of multiple projects at once, so we're making smaller bets, and then our budgets are a little bit more protected, and then the games are probably not quite as enormous and large and putting our entire company's livelihood at risk if the game doesn't do well. And then they're able to sell the games at maybe a lower cost, $50 or $60 instead of $70 and $80. And then we would be the benefactors of that. Your best asset in a market like this is to put money where you think it's best spent, or it's most deserved. This idea of like weaponizing everything, like weaponizing Expedition 33 and using like a bat to like bludgeon AAA studios and developers and publishers, as if all AAA games are the same evil monolith for us to yell at. It's like Expedition 33 should not be used in this punitive way. It should be used in an instructive way. You know, every studio on God's green earth should be watching SkillUp's breakdown of how that thing came to be and just taking notes on getting back to the basics of letting passion and innovation drive projects. Instead of either a trend chase or, you know, just keep overspending, just keep making the game bigger and bigger and bigger. When does it become greed? Like if tomorrow they announce games are $200, then do we say that's too much? I think that's where it's at. People are saying it's greed and not really a need to increase prices. But see, increasing prices is immaterial to the discussion because refunding puts you in the position of power. Whether or not a game is $200 or $2,000, if you can refund, you're in the greater position of power. Because you can be like, you know what? I bought your game. You guys thought it was hot snot. You sold it for $80. It's crap. Give me my money back. Do you see? You would put the position of power more in the consumer's hands, because then the developer would be like, well, we're not in charge of the publisher setting it at 80, and the publisher's the one dictating the deadline and when the game's going to come out. Well, these publishers would learn really, really quickly how destructive that is to the thing that they care about the most, which is profit. The price of the game's immaterial. Once you put the consumer in that position of power, the publishers would start to realize, oh, we're actually working against our aims of making profit when we push games out too early, when we create unhealthy deadlines, or when we basically set it up to where there's no way this game's going to ship at quality. It's going to ship without features or not ship feature complete. Well, they're going to start to second guess that when the consumer's like, well, I can throw this right back in your face and get my money back. Especially, again, if you're charging $80 and there's $40 and $50 games out here that I can try and then get my money back if I don't like it. Again, the consumer is in the position of power. So it doesn't matter if somebody wants to come out into the market and charge $200 for their game. You're now empowered to either completely avoid it or get all your money back. You see, like, the price topic becomes irrelevant at that point because you would have so much more power as a consumer. Right now, it's almost like, ugh, do I spend the $80? I don't know. I'm stuck with it if I do. You see, you have no power in the equation. Taking that back would change the landscape of how games come out. Dollars to Donuts, Mind's Eye wouldn't have released. They suddenly would have been keenly aware that they were shipping a pile of crap because they knew what would have happened. I think a lot of the times, and this is what I truly believe. This is what I truly believe happened with Mind's Eye. They thought we can keep the veil over everybody's eyes just long enough to make enough money from pre-orders and day one sales to break even and we'll be okay. Well, the jig was up. The jig was up. I mean, there was enough of us calling out the red flags about that game to at least slow down purchases to a degree. People with much larger platforms than me were on Twitter. They're like, there's no review copies that have been sent out. Everybody pumped the dadgum brakes. Everybody pumped the brakes. And so their plan didn't work. It backfired. But sometimes it does. Like Jedi Survivor sold incredibly well on the Star Wars name alone. And a bunch of people were left holding a crap game. Like, the game was in such bad shape at launch. It took like 4 to 5 months for them to fix it. They might not have ever done that. And what was your recourse at that point? What were you going to do? What were you going to do? You're just going to be stuck with it. They had thought long and hard about shipping Jedi Survivor in the state that it was in if you could refund. Like, look at the game on Steam. That's what it would have looked like on every platform. People would have been like, this runs terribly. Corporate greed has been a runaway freight train in this country for decades. These companies don't want consumer protection. They need it. We need lawsuits to happen. I think one of the best ways to combat, if you think that's the main culprit and that's the main enemy in the situation, is corporate greed. I got news for you. One of the best things to protect you from corporate greed is the ability to refund the product. That's one of the best things. It's like a cannon in the side of the boat. You just blow a hole right through the side of the boat of all the nonsense that these companies pull. Yo, thank you, Jagged. I didn't see this. 22 months for a member light. Thanks for all the great coverage. Jagged, if you upgrade to Member Plus, I can include you in the count. Sven with 48 months, 4 years of subs. Thank you so much. And Stone Spire set up that 20 bomb bait, and nobody has taken it yet. Team Purple or Team Red, whoever hits it gets it. If you make this hit 225, I owe your platform 5. The only protection console gamers have are YouTubers and content creators, and good review embargoes. I think good review embargoes actually help you as well. Like Kojima's review embargo for Death Stranding being like even before early access was available, I think was hugely helpful to consumers. The platform could protect themselves by only offering a refund as store credit. For most people, myself included, this would be enough. This is a great idea. I think that's a great idea. You'd still be in a situation where I still wonder if the storefront would need protected for the whatever they're going to have to do, because they're going to have recourse of getting that money. What you would do is if you spend $70 in the PlayStation Store, it gets put into almost like escrow for so many days, and it doesn't go to that developer if you refund the game and you buy a different game. You know what I'm saying? Like when there's a monetization dispute on a YouTube channel, all the advertising dollars goes into escrow. So the video is still generating money, and then at the end of that period, whoever is granted the rights of the video gets all the money. You could do the same thing here so that you're not constantly doing this thing where you're charge it back, credit card fee, give me my money. No, store credit would be completely fine. It would be completely fine. I get my money back. I know I'm going to buy more games. That would be completely and utterly fine. I spent $70. Nope, give it back to me. Okay, I've got $70 credit. I'll just go buy a different game, or I'll buy a $40 game instead, and then I've got $30 from micros maybe if I want it or whatever. And what you would do is the company on the store side would basically be saying, well, we're not going to actively be sitting here doing reverse charges and having credit card fees. We're just going to hold the money in escrow so it doesn't go to Mind's Eye because the person refunded the dadgum game within an hour and a half. Now the money's going to go to, I don't know, this studio over here because the person kept the game past the refund window. That might be one of the best ways to protect, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo from getting bludgeoned over the head with credit card fees, because people would be refunding like crazy on some of the worst offenders. I mean, you talk about people just can't get the space out of the car. Oh, for Pete's sakes. I'll be right back. Sorry. I took friends of mine to the airport this morning, and I put their car seat in, and there's like a right way and a wrong way to put a car seat in. So I had it like super tight, and the button to like loosen the belt, it wouldn't work. So the thing was like, you couldn't like, you have to pinch this thing and push the hooks past the anchor points to get them off. My wife's like, I can't do it. It's too tight. I literally had to shove the base of the car seat into the seat, like so that the seat's like pushing in from it. And I'm like, and I like push the button to get it off. See, I have to keep locking the stream because the ad never loads. Here, I'll just shut it off. I never like having to do that. We're doing an experiment this morning with like a new format and seeing if viewership could turn around on a more debate-centered topic. And then as soon as we're on an upward trajectory, I have to get out of the fucking chair. Like, dude, I was rocking the whole van. Like, I couldn't do it. I was like, I can't. Like, it's one of those things where you can't get it to move because that's what I was supposed to do. You're supposed to tighten the belt as much as you can so the car seat doesn't move. You know, you got a little baby in there. You got to make sure it's in there properly. My knee has been impaled into a few tight car seats. I mean, I had to throw my weight, which isn't much, you know, a whole 145 pounds. I'm like throwing my weight into the car seat, so it's like pushing into the seat to loosen the belt so that I could get the hooks to move. So, guys, do me a favor. When I take a break like that, it really hurts us. I try not to until we sort of run the course of the trajectory of the video. Smash like, renew, do all the things. Help us kind of bounce back on YouTube. So it was unfortunate. I did a good job with the car seat, and their button doesn't work on the belt to loosen it. So okay. Anyway, let's see. Let's go through some of the comments here. If you guys haven't watched the refund video yet, that's another way to support. There's a link in the chat. Use that link to watch my video about refunds, then you can come back and discuss it. Prezzer says, I remember when our local game store were offering no quibble refunds on games. Not sure what the time frame was, but if you brought it back within that time period, you could swap it for another game. Store credit would do wonders for gamers. Store credit alone would do wonders for gamers. You know, the ability to just be like, yep, take your game back. I don't want it. You know what I mean? Like, it would be a huge benefit just to be able to do that and to set that standard to where, and again, whether it's store credit or full credit, you're empowering the consumer to support the good actors and to punish the bad actors. Why store credit? It's not like that's a difference from a refund. Well, Paul, the store credit would protect the storefront from all of those credit card charges. So they'd have to issue it. There's a credit card fee to refund you the money. There's a credit card fee when you spend the money again. It's an enormous difference. That's why a lot of companies do store credit, because if you think about the number of refunds they do every quarter, them doing store credit saves them thousands upon thousands of dollars. And the same would be true for a digital storefront as well. Like PlayStation issuing thousands of refunds a day, they would be protected from all those fees if they just issue store credit. It's a win-win. Like, the consumer's protected. PlayStation's not left holding the bag because some dum-dum made a bad game. They still got their money from you. You still spent $70 on their storefront. The good thing in this situation is the appropriate party is inflicted the appropriate harm. PlayStation's not sitting there getting a bunch of losses in a day because Mind's Eye's bad. They still got their money from you. You're still a consumer. And guess what? Consumer loyalty would go way up if you felt like, hey, PlayStation's got my back here. They're going to give me store credit on a game if I don't like it, or if it's bad or it's buggy. PlayStation's got my back, so that increases loyalty. And PlayStation's protected from taking losses on a game they didn't even frickin' make, and then Mind's Eye would have been obliterated. I mean, it'd have been obliterated by refunds. What happens if someone does a chargeback even after the store credit has been given? Well, that's credit card fraud. You're talking about somebody committing a crime. Yeah, it's a crime, brother. Like, if somebody wants to risk committing a crime to get one over on the dadgum company, I mean, that's your own dumb choice. I mean, you go right ahead, I guess. I mean, that's stupid. I wouldn't do that. They could ban you for that as well. We all commit crimes. What? Are you drunk? This is a good topic to discuss, but the problem lies in the government. Laws would have to change at the federal level. Right now, we are only protected by a product not working. There is no law that entitles you to a refund if you don't like something. Then start with refunds for products that don't run well and work up from there. Start there. You know what I mean? A chargeback would get the account and the library banned. Yeah, if you're gonna pull some kind of fraud on the company, thank you, Feed Chicken, for 32 months of members. That gets us to 207. I appreciate it very, very much. And that gets us to 22. Oops. Oh, wait. Hang on. I was like, what did I do? There we go. Not liking something's not the same as it not working. I don't think we need the government to get involved. If refunds are that important, stick to Steam. What you're saying is not a solution. It's just tribalism. There are going to be hundreds of millions of Switch 2s in circulation. There's going to be over 100 million PlayStation 5s in circulation within probably a year or more. And all those customers are not protected. What do you mean stick to Steam? There are millions upon millions of people consuming digital games on platforms right now that aren't Steam. You're not offering a solution. You're just cheering for a side. Like, that's not a solution. Like, consumers need to be protected, not like all vacate and run to one place. That's not the answer. I think if any game is missing features, is buggy or unfinished, when the consumer should be covered for a refund. If refunds are that important, then vote with your money. Well, and people are beef. What do you mean? People are now more and more, I think, being more hesitant to buy a game until after they've seen reviews, until after they've seen people stream it. It would not surprise me at all if those numbers are seeing a bit of a decline, because it's with prices going up and the risk of getting a bad game is ever present. You'll see people speaking with their wallet as you're advocating for, and they're like, I'm going to wait and see if the game's any good. Instead of, you would get, I wonder if this would be true. There's a chance, I could be wrong here, but there's a chance you'd get more day one purchases. Why? Because there's less risk. You're like, well, everybody's talking about this game, Expedition 33, or everybody's talking about this game, Blueprints. Well, let me check this out. You'd get more day one purchases because people are like, well, I'm willing to take the risk. If I don't like it, I can get my money back. That's my point. That's how you influence the industry. Well, I think what you're saying is absurd. You're never going to get enough people to leave PlayStation or Nintendo in order to get them to say, well, we better start offering refunds. You're talking about millions and millions of people that are never going to do that. We don't need government to add regulations and potentially screw things up. I don't agree with you. I think you're incorrect. I think consumer protection law is quite literally where this needs to happen. We're talking about consumer protection. You're talking about attempting to invoke supply and demand shift in the market. I don't think you could do that. You're never going to shift enough consumers off of Nintendo or PlayStation to get them to say, well, we better offer refunds now. Like, you're just not going to. Like, consumer protection laws are literally there for a reason. And this is one area that has gone unchecked for too long. One of the best things that is coming out of the Stop Killing Games movement is more and more people are becoming aware to the fact that, like, you don't really own the game and people can just totally take the game away from you if they want. Well, guess what? that's a perfectly good reason to let me refund games. If you can just take the game back at any point in time extremely easily, then you just gave me all the ammunition I need to argue that you should be able to refund a game just as easily. If you can go, yep, we're taking your access to the game away. Oh, thank you for admitting you can refund games very easily. This is how you trap them. See, I said this in the video. They thought they were slick with this license thing that they did. They don't sell you the game, they sell you the license. Oh, that's great. Thanks so much for admitting that this is an incredibly easy transaction to execute. I don't have to pack something up. I don't have to return any goods to you. The product doesn't have to be examined for damage or missing pieces. It's literally a license that you can revoke once I've been refunded. Like, this is how you win. This is almost like the weakness in the Death Star, right? It's like there's a weakness in this thing that they've enacted on the market with licensure of like, well, you don't actually own the game, you own a license. Wonderful. I'm now in a better position. I'm now in a stronger position because you can just take the license away and give me my money back. Digitally, they have the upper hand. Not if we flip this around on them, they don't. Some companies will never do anything good for consumers if it doesn't affect their money or if the government doesn't intervene. This is exactly right, Pathalon. I think it'd be way easier to get the government to say consumers are not protected against bad products being sold and then there's no recourse for refund. You're way more likely to get a regulatory body to step in and say, hey, this is not protecting the consumer. You're going to get that a whole lot faster than you're going to get PlayStation and Nintendo to be like, oh no, people went to Steam. Like, you're never going to move the needle. You're never going to get people to say, oh, yes, that's fine. I'll abandon my entire library on PlayStation and I'll abandon my entire library on Nintendo because I can't get refunds. I'll go over to Steam where none of my games are, where none of the Nintendo games are, where I have to wait for some of the PlayStation games to eventually show up. You're never going to convince enough consumers to do that. It's going to be far easier to say, hey, we're not protected as consumers. We need to we need to be protected. Oh, and it's incredibly easy. This is an easy solution. The companies have admitted this is an easy solution because they can revoke my access with the push of a button. So I should be able to return the game with the push of a button. Simple. Physical copies is the upper hand against digital. How? Like, in what way? It's like a lemon law for automobiles. You've used the license, so why would you get your money back? You rented the game. Because if the game is bad or in terrible shape, then I have the right to hand the license back. Think of it this way. They can revoke your license if you break their terms of service. I should be able to return the license if I feel the terms of service have been broken by selling me something that's broken. Do you see how that works? If I break your terms of service, you can take the game away from me. I feel that if you sell me a broken game, well, then I should be able to give the game right back to you. I'm like, take this piece of crap. I don't want this. Also, them being able to revoke the license so easily is the best argument. It's like, in what time frame? You would set a time frame of like 1 to 2 hours or something like that. For very small games, I think you'd be able to say, okay, what's average time of completion for your game? Okay, if it's 10 hours or less, you can only play the game for an hour. Anything beyond that, you should be able to play the game for 2 hours. You're never going to play enough of a game to feel like you really ripped them off. Like, if the game completion time is 15 to 20 hours and you play for 2... Right, Dr. Q, you might have missed this. It's in the video. So you need to watch my full video on this. I literally admit right at the beginning, there have to be parameters here. You can't play a game for 25 hours or platinum a game and be like, yeah, I didn't like it that much. I'd like my money back. I'm advocating for within the initial, testing period of the game, you're like, no. This is a pile of crap. Give me my money back. Like, I'm not talking about somebody who's like platinumed the game. You know what I mean? Why is this even a debate? If somebody wants a refund, they should be able to. I get where he's coming from, compadre. Like, Dr. Q is basically saying, why should you be able to get your money back if you played the game? His argument is, like, if you've completed the game, if you've, you can't play a game for 25 hours and be like, I've changed my mind. Like, that's a little ridiculous. In the case of an egregiously bad game, the hour limit can be extended by the platform. Yeah, they could say, hey, you played for 2.5 hours, but there's obviously some pretty serious problems with this. Let's see. I'm going to read some more of the comments here. Brandon left a pretty lengthy comment here on my video about refunds. If you guys go and watch the video and leave a comment, you might get featured in the live. So click the link in chat. Give my old YouTube video a watch-a-rooney. He says, I agree. Brandon says, most games are released nowadays. They require some sort of an update every month. Well, we are not going to be around for a month in order to let them drop an update and finish completing the game. They need to release a full game without bugs from start to finish on launch day without planning for updates. I think that's a little extreme, Brandon. Like releasing a game without bugs from start to finish. Like if I play a game, like I've been playing Death Stranding, and I've seen at least maybe 2 bugs, like just some weird pop-in. I mean, that's not a deal breaker. I'm not like, oh, throwing my hands up in the air like, give me my money back. You know, I think that's an unreasonable expectation, especially for a game of that size and scope. Like, it's an enormous game with enormous, you know, vistas and biomes and draw distance and, you know, lines of sight. There's going to be oddities from here, you know, periodically. Okay. I'm just approving some of the comments here that got flagged for review for some reason. That they were completely fine. Live service games have ruined multiplayer and campaign games alike. I don't necessarily agree with that at all. I don't see there any evidence that live service games have ruined campaign games. I've played some of the best campaign games of my life as a gamer in the last couple of years, and live service games have been booming since like 2018. This petition hopefully gets more eyes on the developers, understanding what the fan base wants and prefers and respects their wallets. Disagree on a few points, but overall, fairly stated. Yeah, I disagree on some of your points there, Brandon. Like, I don't think there's any evidence that like live service games have like ruined campaign games. Like, I don't think there's a logical connection there between them. Like, well, man, this game stinks and it's all Fortnite's fault. It's like, what? Like, if a campaign comes out and is bad, it probably is on the developers. Could we get 17 more likes on YouTube? We are very much squeezing blood from a stone on YouTube lately, and I do not know what happened, y'all. If you are not seeing my content, re-sub, unsub, redo your bell, something, jar that thing, because, buddy, it's been weird. It has been very, very weird, and I feel like we're doing the thing we've done for 5 years. Like, we're doing a high-quality live show. We're covering relevant topics. I feel like the vibes have been pretty positive, and we are absolutely getting our teeth punched in, and I don't know what happened. I don't like getting government involved in a private transaction like this. It's not like getting scammed on a home or essential service. It's a $70 game at the end of the day, leisure-based. I think you're framing this incorrectly. You're not getting the government involved in a private transaction. You are establishing a consumer protection so that you can't be taken advantage of. Like, I don't know, low-income neighborhoods being targeted with those cash advance scummy businesses, right? Or predatory lending on college campuses. These are things that consumers have been protected against in recent years. Well, I should just be able to get ripped off if I want to. Like, no, I think consumer protection is a good thing when it's done in a way that prevents people from being taken advantage of in like Ponzi schemes and things. Like, or exposing. Like, there's all sorts of consumer protection involved with like insider trading and things like that, with like the way that, you know, shares and companies are managed and handled. Like, you can't just like be like, well, it's a private thing, so leave us alone, government. Like, well, no, you have to be protected to a certain degree, or we talk about greed a lot, right? People invoke the word greed a lot. I would say, if you're worried about that, you'd be surprised what these companies would be doing if there weren't regulations. You know, I mean, not just consumer protections. There's employee protection laws. There's all sorts of stuff that basically states that you can't treat employees a certain way or do certain things, you know, to customers. This is a common thing. This is not an unusual thing to request. Should the government ensure you get your money back for a bad movie if you leave 20 minutes in? You're invoking something that's unrealistic to try to downtake something that's in place in many places. It's the government's not ensuring you get your money back if you leave a thing within 20 minutes. The government would say, you need to, and this is my argument, the ease with which I purchase a digital item, I should be able to just as easily refund it. That's all I'm saying. Why? The impetus for this is companies have and continue to sell items that are so below what could be considered a reasonable expectation of quality that I am being sold often a piece of garbage. If you went to the store and you bought a toaster and you got it home, it was made out of Legos, you'd be like, what the frick is this? This is not what I bought. Or you took the toaster home and only one side worked. You wouldn't be like, yeah, well, you know. No, you'd want your money back. You'd be like, what the frick is this? I bought something that's not working as it's intended to work. Like, we buy games all of the time that function so woefully below how they should function. I should be able to go push a button and get my money back. No, I didn't get a refund on Mind's Eye. We were going to play that for the lulz. Thank you so much, PWH now for $5. I can't believe you're getting pushback on digital refunds. Like, seriously. Well, everybody has opinions on things, man. That's why we call this a debate. Let's get 5 more likes on the video, please. How is this even an argument? I don't know. Those scenarios are all well known. Just means you have to wait before you buy. Or, I don't know. Track with me here. Instead of putting the impetus on the customer to have to be Sherlock Holmes, so like anybody that wants to buy a game needs to boot up YouTube and Twitch and like find people to watch and find streams to watch before they purchase a game. I don't know. Maybe we hold the companies accountable for selling crap. Why is all the impetus on me? They're the one bringing the product to the market. Like, why am I the one that has to do like a research project on every game before buying it? What do you mean? No. All I'm saying is protect me from being taken advantage of. Look at Mind's Eye as an example. The average consumer watched trailers. It looked cool. They hyped it up. They showed what looked like a really cool game, and it's a pile of garbage. And unless you did your due diligence and watched YouTube or streams or were on Twitter, you're just Johnny Consumer. You buy the game, and within an hour, you're like, oh gosh, what the heck is this? You should be able to go like, well, I'd like my money back on this one. I don't think that's unreasonable. Just watch the video. It was great. Thank you. I think what's unreasonable is asking the consumer to do all the extra legwork. It's like, no. They're the ones bringing the product to the market. The impetus is on them to make a good product, not for me to play, Sherlock Holmes investigator. I'm not saying not the whole company is accountable, but we can also take responsibilities to make informed decisions. I don't think I've argued once today that consumers should not do their due diligence. In my own video, I made reference to the fact that like a lot of us tried to warn people about Mind's Eye. I was called out and brigaded against on Reddit. They said that I was going to be hate streaming the game. And it's like, no, I've been trying to draw attention to the fact that this is an obvious pile of garbage. But here's the issue, Beef. You're creating imperatives that I don't think are reasonable. Donkey Sausage, thank you so much for 29 months over here on Purple. The members have come to a bit of a lull today, but we can bounce it back, and it's 208. The next milestone is 225. Why do we have to make informed decisions? Right, like I feel like the imperative on the consumer that you're creating is unreasonable. Like they watched trailers, they watched gameplay, and they thought that looks cool. and then the game comes out and it's nothing like the trailers. It's not as much as an imperative as just good common sense. Right, you can advocate for good common sense, but I also think it's good common sense to be able to refund a product. Like some of us stand around in the store and we pull up Amazon and we pull up other websites to see what the reviews are on the item we're about to purchase. Not everybody does that, and I don't think they should have to. Like when you buy the toaster, well, maybe we should watch some videos, babe, to make sure both of the toaster slots work. Maybe we should watch a video to make sure all the different heat settings on the toaster work. I mean, it's sitting here right here with a box that says it has those features, but we should make sure those features work before buying it. I think that that's silly. No one's going to do that. The assumed transaction is we've created a video game. If you buy the video game is going to work. You need to explain what you're saying, Eugene. Caveat emptor and caveat venditor. I'm not familiar with these terms. There's almost no caveat venditor in the industry. I'm not familiar with the terms. The person you're watching also has their own opinions and feelings, just like Amazon reviews. That should be left up to the individual to decide. I think that's well stated, Zet. Like, listen, people say this all the time. They're like, why do you pay attention to Metacritic and why do you pay attention to what reviewers say? And it's like, well, it's one of the best barometers we have when a game first comes out to get an approximation of the game's quality. Right? Like, that's one of the best things we have. Caveat emptor is Latin for buyer beware. Oh, okay. So you're saying they're equally valid now, but it's swung way too hard towards buyer beware. Seller beware. Okay, I see. You're saying that it's imbalanced. There's not enough seller beware. Like seller beware, you sell a piece of crap and you're going to pay the price. Like it's going to hurt you financially. Yeah, there's very little, recompense for when a game comes out and it's garbage. It's like, I mean, it's there, but it's not there in the way that it potentially should be. Your early adopters get the crap kicked out of them. Toaster to gaming license is apples to oranges. No, it's not. I mean, if a game is legit broken, refunds have been handed out by Sony like Cyberpunk or Mind's Eye. These are terrible examples because these are examples of games that were so egregiously bad that, one of them got taken from the storefront. And what's funny is you're now agreeing with me. You're like, well, the only way that you're going to get any kind of recourse is when the companies step in and protect the consumer. That's what Sony did with Cyberpunk, and that's what Sony did with Mind's Eye. They were allowing people to do something that they ordinarily can't do because the situation was so dadgum bad, which proves the entire point of the argument that we aren't properly protected. It takes extreme situations for us to even get the companies to step in and protect us. And a toaster to a gaming license is not apples to oranges in this situation. It is a product that has advertised features. And if I buy the game and those features don't function well or at all, I should be able to get my money back. There are plenty of games that ship that are not just like broken, buggy, and absolutely unplayable, but there's plenty of things in them that don't work. It's like, well, this doesn't work properly, or that's glitching out. Like, let's just take, for example, Jedi Survivor when it released, okay? That's analogous to the toaster not having one of the slots working in it. It runs, it toasts the bread, but only one slot works. Well, Jedi Survivor ran, you could play it, but the screen tearing and the screen hitching, it was a terrible experience. And there were people in this community that were like, I just pushed through. They're like, I wanted to play the game so badly. I wanted to know what happened. I just kept going. So my comparison is completely valid to be like, you buy something with, I think, a reasonable expectation that it's going to run well and do the things that it set out to do. And if it doesn't do those things, or doesn't do them well, I want my money back. What can we do personally to be protected? Advocate for the government to institute consumer protection law in this regard. In Green Room, remind me to tell you about FSR possibly running on the base PS5. Yeah, I saw that. We're going to have to potentially cover that. It does seem like they are going to be bringing it, like the algorithm that they basically came up with is coming to PS5 Pro as well. Mind's Eye was a little bit of a unique situation. Way more signs that Mind's Eye was going to be bad. I still think Mind's Eye needed refunds, but I have way less sympathy compared to like Cyberpunk or Jedi. Yeah, Cyberpunk and Jedi Survivor are perfectly good examples of like there was no way to know that those games were going to be in bad shape. The review circuit was literally making Jedi Survivor seem like it was this huge triumph. No way it's coming to the base console. I mean, Mark Cerny quite literally said that, but okay. A toaster can't get patches and updates to fix the product. Just devil's advocate. Sure, and here's the thing. Ahoy Tyler, that's a perfectly good devil's advocate. To say, oh, but they can fix it. Oh. So what you're telling me is, if there were suddenly recourse from the consumer to get their money back, maybe these companies would be motivated to fix it before they ship it. Right? Do you see? It's like, yeah, you're right. They can fix it. Yep. And then they can ship it when it's ready, because if they're under threat of refund, that's probably going to be a more common occurrence. Sorry guys, we need 6 more months. Yeah, that's fine. Like if Jedi Survivor would have walked out and said that, and then they shipped it and it ran fine and I was able to play it and enjoy it, I'm perfectly fine with that. Now, one of my favorite games from that year, it's like soured with this memory of I had to wait like 4 months to play the dadgum thing after buying it. You know? It's like, well, I guess I'm just going to wait. I'm stuck. The market largely regulates itself. You make a bad product, word gets around, people don't buy bad product. Company changes ways or goes out of business from loss of revenue. That's generally true, Tommy, but I also think there's something to be said for being able to buy something, you get it home, and you're like, you know what? Yeah, this isn't really what I wanted, or I don't like it. You know, the rug doesn't really go with the room the way I thought it was. The chair's not as comfortable as it felt in the store, and you take it back. You buy a game, you watch the trailers, you try it out, an hour and a half in, and you're like, yeah, I don't really like this. You know, I played some games recently. There was a top-down one that it was like, it looked Hades inspired. What was it called? Is it Ravensward or whatever it's called? Ravensward? Is that what it's called? I think. No, there was some game like that. Raven's Watch. Okay. So I played Raven's Watch. I don't know if you guys have seen this game. It's not a bad game. Perfectly fine game. It's got an overall score of 80% on Steam. All right. This is Raven's Watch right here. Oops, hang on. I got my cap card set wrong. Let's zoom this out. This is a perfectly fine game. Like, it's not amazing or anything. It's co-op, you know, Hades-inspired game, right? I did not like it at all. I did not like it. I thought the flow of combat was clunky and annoying. It did not have the speed and the fluidity of, like, a Hades. Didn't enjoy it. I played through the tutorial. I played for, like, a little bit with one of my nephews, and we both were like, this doesn't feel good. We didn't like it, okay? I should be able to get my money back. You know what I mean? Like, think of it this way. The more times that a consumer buys a game like that for $20, $30, whatever it is, those $20 or $30, $40 games, the more times they do that and they have like a negative experience, the less likely they're going to do that again in the future. The less likely they're going to do it again in the future. So the idea that you could say, well, I'm going to try games, I'm going to test them out, and if I don't like them, I should be able to get my money back. Change of mind is the weakest use case for this argument. I don't agree. I don't agree at all. You can test drive vehicles before buying them. You can't test out games before buying them. You just kind of have to like plunge in and see if it's good. I mean, Steam literally lets you do a refund if the game's not fun. These are experiential, you know, these are subjective experiential products. You get an hour in, you're like, I don't like this. It doesn't feel good. There's an enormous difference between the fluidity of like a, you know, the side-scroller Metroidvanias of like a Ori and the Blind Forest, a Hollow Knight, or like a Nine Souls, and then I buy some like little game that's like $10 and it feels like garbage. Like the movement's stiff, nothing seems to react all that well. It's not broken. To me, it's like, yeah, give me my money back. I don't like your game. Why do I have to just sit here and hold the bag for a game that like doesn't feel good to play or I'm not enjoying? Well, you just took the risk and you bought it. Well, okay, fine. I guess you're just going to tell consumers to basically stop taking those risks. Like, do you wonder why people get landlocked into the same games and the same franchises year after year after year after year? I made the analogy in my video. I don't go out to eat all that often. It's expensive. We got to get a babysitter. It's not exactly the time right now to be doing that, right? We're not in the best of places. So it's like we go out once a month. And you know what I do? We go to a place that I love and I get the thing that I know I'm going to like. Why? I'm not taking the risk. I'm not taking the risk. Well, in gaming, if you could take those risks, I think people would try out more games. And fundamentally, I think what you would end up seeing is you would see completion times go up in games. People would say, oh, well, I actually tried out 3 or 4 games, landed on a game that I really liked, and I completed it. So many people get landlocked into certain genres and types of games because they never want to try anything new, and they're missing out on those experiences. Is it the breadsticks? No. You're totally ignoring a century of consumer protection that leads to retailers offering returns, says Eugene. Amazon didn't take care of it on their own. Right. Yo, thank you so much, Sven, for 31 months over here on Purple. I appreciate it so much. Thank you, sir. GTA and COD are the best example. Yeah, people just get landlocked in a certain type of game in a certain type of genre, and they don't leave because, well, why would they? Well, if I spend this money and I don't like the game, I wasted my money. You give people paralysis. It's like, well, I'm not going to buy anything then. It's too, especially with smaller games. I made this argument as well in the video. Please support the video. I really hope you guys watch it and give it some love, and give it some comments and some likes. I said this in the video. One of the reasons I think that there are games that go viral on Steam is because they've fostered a culture of people being like, well, I'll try that game out. What, like Repo or Schedule 1 or any of these games that went viral, I think a facet of that, an aspect of that, it's just not the entire reason it happens, but I think one of the reasons it happens is because people are like, yeah, I'll try that out. I'm hearing it's fun. Do you ever see these games going viral like this on console? No, of course not. Because on console, it's like, well, I'm not going to buy some $10 little indie goofy looking game or a $20 game. I might lose money. I'm not going to, like, Among Us, I think, went crazy everywhere. But in general, I think that plays a part. It's not the only reason. I'm not saying that's the only reason that games like that end up going viral. But I think that plays a significant role. You have an entire user base that's empowered to say, that I've heard that game's cool. I'm going to check that game out. Market forces, consumer protection, advocacy, and government regulation is why we can return products from to retailers, says Eugene. Americans love advocating against themselves. Good old rugged individualism and F you, I got mine. Right. Like, Amazon return policy is driven by government consumer protection laws. Government protection laws regarding returns. Let's just do refunds instead of return. Regarding refunds. Federal law mandates refunds or replacements for products that are defective or fail to function as advertised. Okay. Breach of contract. If a seller violates the terms of a sales contract, such as failing to deliver goods or services as agreed, consumers are entitled to a refund or other remedies. Like, that right there. That right there. They're doing that all of the time. It's a license agreement. It's a terms of service thing that we're agreeing to, and they're delivering goods and services in a way that's not what we agreed to. I didn't agree to buy a game that runs like this. Give me my money back. We're not protected. There are actual laws about this protecting us from either defective products or breach of contract, and that's happening left and right in the gaming industry. Why is that not enforced on games? D-Tom, you're now all the way caught up with why I'm saying this is an enormous issue. This is the other side of the coin to Stop Killing Games. Stop Killing Games has drawn attention to the fact that these companies can just revoke your access to a game. You will own nothing and like it. Well, okay, the other side of that is, and this is what I talked about in my video, if you can take a game away from me, I should be able to give it back. That's the point. Imagine that being true with any other product. They can just come to your house and take it away. That's ours. You can't have that anymore. Like, what the frick? My whole point is that you don't need to do anything more. There are already laws on the books. No, D-Tom, I would imagine you would need new laws drafted for digital items. Right? Finally, a pro-consumer opinion from Lono. I have plenty of pro-consumer opinions. One of them is that you're not allowed to hang out here. I mean, the government does that if I don't pay my taxes. Oh, yeah. They'll come and take your stuff real quick. Whereas in Australia, EULA cannot override the consumer law. Yeah, we're going to have to cover all that tomorrow. Good golly. Good golly. The ripple effects. I told people. Nobody listened. Well, hope those acquisitions and consolidation of the market were worth it. I said less product. I did. Less product will come to the market. You'll have less things to buy, and here we sit. We can't talk about it. Good golly. People are putting stuff in the Discord. It looks bad. It looks real bad. Got another comment here on my refunds video from Crybaby Patty. Says, I think there needs to be something more than just a timer. Otherwise, companies are just going to start front-loading their games so that the real problems don't start until after 2 hours. I quite literally address this in the video. This doesn't happen on Steam like at all, and they have the 2-hour window policy. It would be rampant, and it isn't. It would be rampant, and it isn't. Disagree, Steam? Right. Hilly, you said it in your comment. I said it in the video. I was like, if the 2-hour window was suddenly encouraging companies to, like, make sure that the first 2 hours are really good, that would be all over the place on Steam. You'd be like, yep, they got me again. The first 2 hours are great, and then everything else sucks. Like, that would be all over the place on Steam, and it's not. Steam is your active running experiment. See what effects it has had. Right. You don't, there's not evidence for that on Steam. It would be everywhere if it was a real problem. Do you want to know why it doesn't work? Because eventually you'd get found out. It would be just as destructive. People would be like, whoa, everybody stop. Their review scores would plummet. Hey, the thing falls apart after 2 hours, and then you'd still get blasted with refunds. And it would be financially destructive to do that. The statement from Lono didn't exclude digital purchases. Here's the thing, D-Tom. We'd have to look at the actual laws on the books at a federal level and see if EULAs and terms of service would fall under contract law or not. We would need new clauses drawn up probably to include EULAs and terms of service to be considered contracts. Like, is it a breach of contract that I buy your game, boot it up, and it runs like crap? You'd have to argue that's a breach of contract. If not, you'd need new regulation in place to say, this is a form of contract that we are now making an addendum here. This is going to be included in this protection, and we deem these following instances as a breach of contract. You'd have to add examples. If a game runs poorly, if a game crashes, if a game is, demonstrably lower quality than it was marketed, right? You'd have to have ways of saying, like, hey, these are all instances where this contract has been breached, and then the customer should be able to get a refund. What you'd hope would happen is you start to apply pressure, the government would start wanting to step in, and then PlayStation and Nintendo and Xbox would be like, it's in our best interest to do something first before this gets, heavily litigated, and they would just do like the return policy with store credit or something. That would protect them, that would protect the consumer, and then the only people that would lose would be bad actors. Like, you're not going to have people like hand over fist returning a game because they don't like it, and it's still a really good game. Like, good games would get into the hands of the right people. If you're not vibing with Expedition 33 or Baldur's Gate 3, you should be able to get a refund. And it wouldn't hurt those games because it would be landing in the hands of the right people. The people that tried it out and thought, I've never done turn-based, dadgummit, this is awesome. Or, I love turn-based, this is a big difference, but dadgummit, this is awesome. Like, the good games would still land in the hands of the right players. You wouldn't, like, all of a sudden, like, be, like, destroying games because people can say, well, I didn't like it, I'd like my money back. Mick Pratt says, I false started with Remnant 2 and Bloodborne. If I could have refunded them, I would have missed out on two of my favorite games. My big problem with freedom of refund is that it would cultivate Game Pass mentality. If I buy a game and it doesn't blow me away, I just refund and move on. It's pro-consumer, but I agree that it would incentivize developers to front-load games and make sales final. I address both of these issues in the video. Yeah, I addressed both of those issues in the video. You didn't make it that far, I guess, when you wrote your comment. I quite literally knew people would say both of those things. It's funny how that works. Like, Creature's like, I don't know if we need to include that in the video. I'm like, nope. People are going to say these things. I am going to put it in the video. They're going to say, well, people might miss out on good games. I would much rather the consumer be protected. The consumer being protected is more important than, like, you made the mistake of false starting on Death Stranding 1 and missed out on a great game. Also, if you false start on a game and you refund it, guess what that does? That emboldens you to come back later and take another crack at it. Why? Well, because you can get your money back if it doesn't work out again. Like, it works both ways. Plenty of people would come back to Death Stranding 1 or even Returnal when I made the videos that I made, because they'd be like, well, yeah, but I can refund it again if this doesn't work out. You can buy games again that you refunded? Yeah, of course you can, because you again would... Now, I guess the question would be, does it restart the clock? This would be the loophole, would it not? You get 2 hours in, you refund the game, a month later you come back, you get another 2 hours, and you can keep going with your save file. That would be one of the things they'd have to probably address, is you could only refund and repurchase during a certain window of time, and you can only refund and repurchase so many times, because if not, people would abuse the frick out of that. They'd refund it, and then like a week later be like, well, let me give that another try. And they get a new allotment of 2 hours, and they pick up where they left off, and they're like, okay, on to chapter 2. Like, you would certainly have to protect against that level of abuse. You refund, they delete your profile. Well, they can't delete your profile. You mean the save file. Steam just tracks total playtime. I think the timer can just keep going. I would feel like AOZ, the third time you purchased it, a big thing would pop up and say, this is now a non-refundable purchase. This is your third time purchasing it. You have to keep it now. Right? Because like if you try it for 2 hours and you come back a week later and you buy it again after refunding it and you just pick up where you left off, you could totally abuse that on a game that's like 15 hours long. You could refund it like 6 or 7 times and beat the entire dadgum game. I think the third time you purchase it, they say, listen, you've already refunded the game twice. Your purchase now is final. You would be aptly warned as the consumer, this is a final purchase now. You're not going to game the system here, okay? You're going to keep this one. The effort, never underestimate people's willing and the lengths that they will go to not spend money. The average person's not going to do that, which is why it wouldn't hurt to have the policy in place. If the average person's not going to do it, the random few people that end up buying the game for the third time, getting stuck with it, there's no harm to the consumer there. That's on them. That's on them at that point. It would just go by your total playtime. They could delete your save data. If they delete your save data, that gets a little more dicey though. That gets a little dicey. I think it makes more sense to not delete the save data. You get a mulligan. You can buy and return the game once. You can buy or return the game a second time. You come back around and you buy it that third time, it would say this all sales are final. You can no longer refund this game. You've purchased it too many times. We'll be probably talking about the layoffs tomorrow. I haven't had any time to research it, and I something that big and significant I want to research. So some of the questions in here I'm just going to delete. We're not covering that today. I'm not avoiding it. I don't like doing that. We only pivot if I have time and I think it's a significant enough thing to do it for. This is far too big for me to pivot. It happened like in the middle of the beginning of my show. This is where we need demos and trials. I have been a big advocate for going back to an era of time where there's more demos and trials. I actually mentioned that in the video. I talk about how, the era of time where I did, demos and trials with the Xbox Arcade was awesome. It was awesome. Like, my wife and I tried out games like Crimson Alliance, and we tried out games like Gatling Gears, and they were really fun games. Nobody's going to round us out to 210. We are definitely falling behind on the week, so a rallying cry may be needed. We're at 210. We are at 210. Thank you so much, Nobody, for 39 months and a Member Plus renewal. Yo, it's good, Vapor. We're 15 away from the next milestone. Want my money back for Kill Justice League just because it's a dead game now? No, you wouldn't be able to get money back on a game that you roll credits on and then support ends. I don't think that's legitimate. Like, if you purchased Helldivers 2 and you played it for 30 or 40 hours, and for whatever reason they just ended support for the game, you don't get your money back for that. I mean, that's not, I don't agree with that. That's, in the instance of like the live service game shutting down, that's a completely different discussion that I think is far more nuanced than like, well, if they shut it down, I should get my money back. It's like, well, I mean, no. You got your money's worth. You cannot expect a refund because a live service game shuts down. Now, if the live service shuts down within the first month, I think you get your money back like they did with Concord, but I think that's going to be a very rare instance. I think most of the time, a live service game support is going to at least last for a year to 18 months minimum. And if you go that long and all you gave them was like $40, I don't think you're entitled to a refund. Lono, why do you think removing save files isn't a plausible solution? Because there's ways around that, Jagged. There's ways around that. You could easily back up the save file on a secondary PlayStation, unhook that PlayStation from the internet, refund the game, and then rebuy the game, and then download the game, and then disconnect from the internet, and then load up your save file. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there would just be a lot of loopholes. And I just think you avoid that if you tell people, listen, you can buy a game once and refund it. You can buy it again and refund it. We know sometimes you misjudge a game. We're going to give you another shot. We're going to give you another 2 hours, right? So all in all, you could try a game for 4 hours. Now, smaller games would need protected from this. A smaller game, you could buy and refund, play it for an hour. Buy and refund, play it for an hour. That third purchase, they would just say, listen, this is no longer a refundable purchase. This is a final sale. This is your third go-around. You're keeping it this time, okay? Do you see? I just think I think solutions are best when they're just simple. When they're just simple. It's not this convoluted, well, it deletes their save file, and then they get a new allotment, and then it's like, well, no, just tell them on the third purchase they have to keep it. I think that's the easiest way to do it. Because, again, we're talking about something that would not be very common. Most of you that have refunded something on Steam and then turned around and repurchased it, I doubt you've done that multiple times. It's probably been a very, very rare occurrence that you're like, okay, my buddy says it's a lot better. I'm going to go back to it. You know? Possible to do, plausible, I have doubts. I think that advocating to get refunds in the first place would be the best bet. Yeah, I've seen those reports, Lone Wolf. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sorry. Yeah, I need to stay off the news feeds. I'm going to get distracted. Snake Eye says, this video is spot on. I don't know how, but we need this to start happening. Spread the word. Share the video. Yeah, if you guys haven't shared the video, Gamers Want Refunds, you know, share it. Get the word out. Consumer protection is just something that people are becoming more aware of. The need for it is growing, and that the credit goes to the guys behind, to Ross and the guys that have been pushing and promoting Stop Killing Games. I think that's just waking more people up to the fact that, like, we're just not protected enough. And I think one of the biggest and most glaring ways is refunds. I said it in the video. In the last 5 years, I have wanted to refund way more games than I've lost access to. It is a more consistent problem that shows up. I think the problems are equal in their severity. Just taking something away from somebody is pretty dadgum extreme. But I think what increases the severity of the refund problem is how often I feel like, I'd like to refund this. This is a bad game. Hey, D-Tom comes in with 46 months in a VIP. Just have a slightly different opinion, but thank you for allowing the back and forth. Great topic. D-Tom with a 5-bomb coming in and demonstrating what we do here. We disagree, but we don't have to make ourselves disagreeable. And it's now 29-5. Purple just non-existence today in the contest. It's 216. We're a 10-bomb away from the next milestone. This is your chance to steal, Purple. If somebody drops a gift of 10 right now, I will owe your platform 5. I believe I owe... Yes, I owe YouTube 5. This is why I think a $10 refund fee would be the best compromise for abuse against an expanded refund policy. If every time you refund you lose $10, it would prevent people from abusing the system. No, I think store credit is better. No, I think store credit's superior to your suggestion, because your suggestion still ends up being a punitive instance where someone buys something that's broken and they're left holding the bag for $10. I don't think that should happen. The absolute cleanest way to do this is store credit. It is. It's store credit. You don't hurt PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo with fees, with credit card fees. You hurt the game. Now, the degree to which that game is hurt should be in relation to the quality of the game. If it's a good game and some folks are not vibing with it, the game will be fine. There would have been people that refunded Baldur's Gate 3 and Expedition 33. Excellent games, headed for Game of the Year, and people would have refunded those games. And guess what? It wouldn't have hurt those games because the refunds would have been proportionate to the quality of the game. Do you see? Like, refunding based on I didn't really like it would never hurt games of good quality and good effort and passion. It just wouldn't affect them at all. The relationship of pain and quality would be, I think, about as good as it can get. You ship a pile of crap and the refunds will increase. The beatings will continue until quality improves instead of until morale improves, right? The beatings will continue until quality improves. Like, you ship a piece of crap and the number of refunds would increase in direct relation to the quality of the game. Like, a really good game is not going to ship and get beat up by this. It just isn't. A $3 indie you couldn't refund? Anything under 10? I just don't think there's a reason to charge somebody $10. If all they get is store credit, Corey, I think it's a perfectly good system, because here's what's going to happen. The vast majority are going to use this in the way that it's intended, and they're going to land on a game that they enjoy. And then they're going to be more emboldened to spend money in the future, because they're like, you know what? My purchase and my money is safe. I can buy this game, and if I don't like it, if it runs like crap, I can get my money back, I can buy something else, and I'll play that. And eventually they land on a game that they keep. They land on a game that they roll credits on. And they're happy. And they're going to feel a greater sense of empowerment to spend money in that storefront. You're going to charge me $10 every time I refund a crap game or a game that's broken. You're going to charge me $10 to do that? Why? It's not my fault. I didn't ship Mind's Eye in the state that it shipped. I shouldn't be charged money. Why do they get to keep some of the money? You know what I'm saying? You can get around the 2-hour limit as long as you have a good reason and you're not abusing it. I agree with Lono again. It should be store credit, as it would reinvest in other games. Yeah, PlayStation gets to keep the money. It's not their fault that Mind's Eye is bad. So if I hand them, $60 or $70 for a game that's broken, PlayStation gets to keep that money, because it's like, listen, you bought it at my store. You just use the money somewhere else in my store. That's fine. PlayStation's protected. You're protected. The only person hurt in that exchange is the developer, and that's as it should be. Where'd you get that shirt? I got this from the PlayStation store back when the game was kind of going crazy and like everybody wanted merch, and they finally released some. This took a long time to show up. I think I waited almost a month for this to show up at my house. Yeah. Guys on YouTube, make sure you're taking a quick second to smash the like button. This guy says, Xbox allows returns, done it myself. I said plenty report being told no, and it isn't easy. Watch 60 seconds of the video and you will hear me talk about this. Like, can you actually watch the video? It's a video advocating for consumer protection, and you're like, well, Xbox allows it. I do it all the time. I talk about that in the first 60 seconds of the dadgum video, man. Like, most people have been told no. Most people don't even know that you can do it, and it's not consistent. And again, I address this in the open of the video. My position on this is very simple. The ease with which I buy a digital item, it should just be as easy to return it. However easy it is to purchase it, it should be just as easy to return it. It's easy for them to take the dadgum game away from me. I should be able to return it. Destiny pushed a button and I lost access to an account and characters and experiences that reached in the thousands of hours, and they went boop, and I could not play the game anymore. I had no recompense. I had no recourse with the injustice that they did. There was nothing I could do. Well, if it's that easy for them to take the game away from me, it should be just as easy for me to say, your game sucks, and I would like my money back. I don't think there's anything unreasonable about that at all. Listen, if game developers want to hold those cards and say it's a license, you don't own it, we reserve the right to take it away, great. Then in the exchange of fairness, I reserve the right to take my money back if the game sucks or is broken or in disarray. I should be able to get my money back. Make it just as easy. Why are we okay? You should not be okay with them holding all of the power. You should not be okay with them holding all the power. After all this time of spending money, I need to access my game regardless of your policies. Exactly. Exactly. All right, listen. Team Purple. I can give you guys a 35% discount on subs if you want to try to catch up. Anytime you guys want that, rally the troops, get everybody organized. I'll push the button and give you an hour or two of the discount. So let me know if you want that. I can turn that on in the back end anytime, okay? I'll give you a chance here to fight back since we need something to put some fuel in the tank here, all right? Unicorn Katana comments on my video and says, I definitely think that we should be able to unconditionally convert digital games we own into store credit to use on the digital storefront, i.e. PlayStation Store. There are no downsides to this in my opinion. Oh, yes, there is. I don't agree with this at all. Unconditionally convert digital games? No, I don't agree with that. No. I should not be able to be like, oh, I platinum the game, I beat the game, convert this into store credit, please. I don't agree with that at all. You would effectively be taking a significant amount of revenue out of the industry and fundamentally disrupting profit margins of developers. Where's that money coming from, brother? Hey, we sold 3 million copies. Awesome. 60 days later, all of a sudden, you're taking money away from the developer because a bunch of people decided to convert the game into currency for a digital storefront. Where's that money coming from? Come on, you can't do that. Yeah, we had a great opening month, a couple million copies sold, and then a bunch of people convert those copies into store credit. Well, where's that money coming from? You're going to take it from the developer? They had an amazing game and it sold well, and then every single time that happens, a percentage of those who purchased it want to get their credit back. The reason that it works with GameStop and physical games is GameStop as a storefront is saying, we will take on that burden and then resell this. That's not something that a digital storefront can do. They can't be like, oh, thank you for the return of this. We can now sell this to somebody else. Like, you can't sell like a used license to somebody for less money. Yeah, it's a refurb. Like, did you see what I'm saying? That doesn't work. It's not a one-to-one. I don't know if someone said this, but paying a little bit of money and then playing a bunch of games is basically Game Pass. Right, if you want that, then play Game Pass. Adjacent to this, says Unicorn Katana, I definitely think we should be able to delete games we claim via PlayStation Plus Essential and essentially give back the license. I don't understand why you would want to do that. Why does that matter to you? All this would allow the user to thin down their digital library and essentially recycle them. This doesn't work. A game has huge sales in the first month, and then you convert it into store credit. Where does that money come from? The dev, the publisher, Sony just being a charity? Like, where does the money come from for you to do that? Are you going to take it from the dev? Are you going to take it from the publisher? You know what I mean? You can't. That's not going to work. Like, you got to be able to give the customer money somehow. Like, why are you giving them store credit? It just, again, it makes more sense to be like, I shared your video, thank you. It makes more sense to be like, hey, you have a certain amount of time to make an assessment of the game. In that assessment period, you can refund it. If it's running poorly, if it's glitchy, if it's buggy, if you're just not vibing with it, you can refund it. You're basically giving power back to the consumer is all you're doing. People immediately looking for exploits is always the issue. Always. I disagree that players should refund a game they played unless it's in a broken state. The problem is easily solved if all games had a demo to play. Asking all devs to make a demo is an enormous ask. Allowing for refunds within 2 hours is something Steam already does. Like, that's a gargantuan ask. You're asking every studio in existence to make a demo of their game. It's a whole lot easier to be like, you have a window of time where you can refund it. Steam already does this. This is not an insane request. I had an amazing dinner last night. After my meal, I asked them to refund me for some store credit. A refund policy turns every game into a demo. This is exactly right. This is exactly right. You want demo culture? You want trial culture to return to gaming? That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You say, oh, well, yeah, I mean, if you don't like it, or if it's bad, or it's buggy, or it has issues, there you go. There you go. Get your money back. That's why game trials shouldn't be stuck behind PlayStation Premium. Well, I don't agree with that. That's something that PlayStation's offering to you as a service. That's something that the developers don't even have to do, Wolf Saints. That is an extra additive feature and service to the consumer. The developers have to do nothing. That's PlayStation doing that. They instituted an entire infrastructure so that you are able to try out a game. That's something that I think is completely fair to make a feature. You're not entitled to try out a game for 2 hours and then with spending $0. Think about what you're saying, Wolf Saints. I'm advocating for consumer protection with refunds. You spend the money, you play for an hour and a half, you don't like it, you get your money back. You're advocating for, I should just be able to try every single game for no money. I don't agree. I don't agree with that in the least bit. And Behemoth gifts 5 members over here on Team Purple. Maybe we're going to have a little bit of a heat up here in the contest. It's now 29-10, and we are 4 away from the next milestone. And Wire Rope's going to tag in and say, let's go for it. And he does, and he gets us to 226. I now owe Purple a 5. I'm going to do it right now. Let's just keep it going. Let's just keep it going. It won't let me click at the top. I want to join in the festivities. Oh, here we go. I can. And here's the 5 that I owe. I owe 5 to YouTube as well. I'm going to do that right now. Come on. Let's start a little train, boys. We are falling behind on the week, and we can turn it around right now. All right, here. We're going to stoke the fires on both platforms. All right? We're stoking the fires on both platforms. And, buddy, do we need it. Holy frick. I don't know what happened. I don't know whose mother I insulted, but golly, we are getting just beat to tar for some reason. It's slightly turning on YouTube, so make sure all your notifications are set to all and not personalized. We're seeing a slight turn. We have just absolutely been obliterated the last 2 weeks, and I cannot figure it out. I can't get heads or tails on it. I don't know what's happening. It's because of the Microsoft news. No, this has been going on for 2 weeks. We are getting absolutely destroyed in the algo, and I don't think it's summer. I think something happened. We're not sure. We think we know, but we're just going to continue doing good uploads, good vibes, good live streams. You guys just do the best to hit like, renew your stuff, celebrate your stuff. Make sure you're in the Discord so you don't miss streams, because sometimes you don't get noties. Soul Train is going to add to the total. Thank you so much, and bumps the line to 227. Thank you. And the member battle edges a little bit here to 29-11. Thank you so much, Soul Train. News cycle has been great. We're definitely coming off of the feast. I mean, Summer Game Fest was a feast, and then the bottom falls out and nobody says anything. So we're definitely coming from the feast to the famine. But generally, you would think in the wake of the showcase season, we would have, a pretty steady amount of interest. So summer's playing a part. I would have thought the heat wave would have helped us. It would have drove everybody indoors. There was a we got obliterated here. I mean, it was terrible. Even my kiddos didn't want to play outside. Leftovers from the feast, you'd think. I don't know. Historically, I have to go back and look. Is this normal for us? Do we typically have this big drop-off second half of June? Like, is that normal? Because if it's normal, I'll start planning my summer trips for the second half of June, y'all. Like, I try to not do anything in June for that reason, but dear Lord. You're roasting in the Netherlands? Yeah, I mean, we have just gotten on the other side of the heat wave, and another one's coming. So, another one's coming. Thank you so much, Vapor, for 3 months on Purple. The little battle between the two platforms is 29-12. Thank you so much. Here, let me respond to a couple more questions here on the video. Mile High says, it is so frustrating dealing with issues in the gaming digital space. Consumer support's terrible. Jumping through hoops. Most people don't even bother to try. Easy to buy. Should be easy to return. Completely agree. I completely agree with you, Mile High. Like, the ease of purchase should be completely and utterly matched by ease of refund. Dark Taco says, great video, Lono. This is why some folks have talked about pro crypto implementation for the games industry. Sean Layden has even discussed this, but as it stands, when you buy a game on Steam, you basically are renting indefinite access. Valve can remove it from your library if they choose. TOS violations, license expires. With tokenization via crypto, a blockchain token would prove you own the license permanently. Even if the publisher pulls the game from Steam, you still have your tokenized license. Interesting idea. Could be feasible after crypto sees more regulation. No crypto, please. No. We don't need that. That's not. The answer is not to bring the crypto bros to gaming. Please, for the love of frick, no. We don't need that. What we need is consumer protection so that you can refund. That's all you need. And then you need consumer protection so they can't just revoke access willy-nilly. We don't need that. Like, that's all I want to say. I can't stand talking about crypto. It makes my freaking skin crawl. All those debates we had about NFTs, and I kept telling people what was going to happen, and then it happened, and all the NFT bros have like vanished. And I'm glad I don't have to listen to them anymore. This largely would only hurt bad actors as life flows. It seems like a step to improve the quality of games. With rising prices on games especially, I think it's totally fair. Triggered Loney started stuttering. I hate talking about it. It absolutely sets my teeth on edge. There are certain topics I hate, and that's one of them. It was so annoying anytime we had to talk about it, and it just drives viewers away because they don't like it, they don't understand it, and they don't want to hear about it. It just seems like PlayStation and Nintendo are being a bit out of order here. Steam and Xbox leading the way here. This is false. Xbox has no standard refund function. It is just as painful and inconsistent as PlayStation. Yeah, that's just false. You Xbox guys, you guys that do this, you just make up these false notions that like, yeah, PlayStation and Nintendo lagging behind, man. Xbox does not just let you refund games anytime you want. I thought Xbox had a 2-hour policy. No. There have been plenty of people that have tried to get refunds on Xbox, and they go through the same nonsense that we go through on PlayStation. You go through customer support, and they say no. They don't let you do it. There's also people that have done it, and they get to do it like, they'll let you do it, but then like they make you wait. Like you can't do it again anytime soon. That's not a thing. I've had multiple people attempt to refund on Xbox, and they end up getting told no. Same thing happens on PlayStation. There are people that are like, oh, it's easy, just call. Oh, it's easy, just do this. First and foremost, no. It should be done right through the storefront. That's where I purchased the dadgum thing. Second, you are not given consistent enforcement of it. It does. I can do it from the Microsoft account page. We have been through this before. There are people that have tried to do it through Xbox and through the page, and if you try to do it more than once in a certain amount of time frame, they tell you no. You are not protected as a consumer to the degree that you should be. You can't just be like, yes, I bought another game, it's not running well, give me my money back. Steam literally lets you do it on every purchase. You purchase a game, play it for an hour, give me my money back. You purchase a game, play it for an hour and a half, it's buggy, it's glitchy, give me my money back. That's not true on Xbox. It isn't. I've had people say the exact same thing about PlayStation. They're like, oh, I've refunded anytime I need it. And then there are other people that are like, not me. My only objection to refunds is that gaming culture is always looking for an exploit. No matter how consumer friendly you make the policy, someone will try to exploit it in the internet culture. Only proliferate the exploit until that becomes the way to use the policy. See Game Pass for $1. I see your point and raise you Steam, the largest user base, and that's not a problem over there. So no reason to worry about it. It may be country specific, which is then irrelevant to the discussion. Consumers are not protected. We don't have an adequate way to refund games on any of the platforms. I feel like no matter what we do or talk about, there's always somebody that tries to make it seem like, oh, it's really my brand is doing a better job. No, none of the brands are doing a good job in this regard. They deserve no points. Not Xbox, not Nintendo, not PlayStation. None of them are protecting us and giving us the ability to refund games in a way that is sensible. It's inconsistent. It requires all these extra steps. It's not easy to find. You can't do it right there through the storefront, which is where you should be able to do it. So you find these random instances where like, well, we can here in Australia, the few people I've spoken to have been able to do it, therefore Xbox is doing a better job. That's not a compelling argument at all. If it was that easy, then everybody would be doing it. They would be doing it all of the time. They would be like, oh, this is great. I don't agree with your store credit idea. Why don't you agree with the store credit idea? Yeah, it sounds like maybe Australia is doing a better job, not Xbox. It sounds like maybe there's actual Australian law that's protecting you. I never said that. Well, I was responding to a comment that said PlayStation and Nintendo are lagging behind here. Xbox lets you do it. And I said, that's not true. And then you started saying things like, no, you can. Your first response to this, Jono, was, it does. I can do it from the Microsoft account page. Now, you went on to say that you can do it in Australia. But initially, what caused the pushback from me was, you're like, oh, no, you can totally do it. And it's like, what? No, you can't. I know of people that have tried and have been told no. It's anti-consumer to dictate where a customer who didn't want your product can spend their money. Okay, your pushback doesn't make any sense. They're not dictating to you how you can spend your money. They're saying, you spent money in our storefront on this game, okay? That's not PlayStation's product. It's a third-party product, and they don't have any control over that game. So when they're like, hey, the game's broken and it's not working well, I would like my money back, PlayStation says, okay, that's fine. We'll issue you store credit. So the next time you want to purchase a game, the money's already there waiting for you. I don't think that's anti-consumer at all. That's not anti-consumer. You're basically telling the consumer, hey, we got your back. We're gonna let you refund that. Now you're just gonna have a store credit. You're just gonna have store credit for the next purchase that you make. There's nothing anti-consumer about that at all. You have to understand, in this exchange, there are three parties involved. There's the consumer, there's the storefront, and then there's the people who made the game, or the publisher, right? So there's the game, the consumer, and the storefront. The storefront should not take the brunt of any damages here if something needs to be returned. That's ludicrous. PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo should not be paying credit card fees on refunds because a crappy game got shipped. They should be protected just as much as the consumer. That's not their fault. Okay? It's a no-fault situation. It's not your fault. It's not Xbox's or PlayStation's fault. So they should not be left holding some fee on... think about it. Thousands of refunds would take place every single day. That's thousands of dollars a day, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month that they would be losing. And you're protecting them from that by basically saying, well, just give me store credit. Yeah, Jono, I can't keep track of your chat history, brother. I didn't know that you had been talking consistently about the difference between Australia and the U.S. The larger discussion, what you're saying enforces what we've been saying all day. If you're like, well, it's better in Australia, thank you for agreeing that we don't have proper consumer protections and that we need more. You're quite literally bolstering the argument by citing that things are better in Australia. That, if anything, that's in full support of the video that I put out today and the position that I've been advocating for. You're quite literally supporting what I'm saying. Accounting question. I buy game A, refund for store credit. I buy game B with store credit. Does both game A and B get money from... No. Game A gets nothing. Jack. It almost puts the money in escrow. It's like, I give the money to PlayStation, and for an hour and a half, that money is in escrow. It has not gone to the publisher or the developer yet. I refund it, and I get my money back. Game A gets nothing. Game A doesn't get a dime. And then now I've got the money to spend on something else. So they've got the signatures? Did they get their signatures for the Stop Killing Games thing? I'm seeing reports that they got their signatures. The website doesn't show that. The website shows I think they're going to get it. How much time do they have? If you're a European citizen, you can sign this. You can now sign a petition where if it passes 100,000 signatures, new law will be considered. Well, they're well past 100,000. They have till the 31st. Oh, they're going to get it. They're fine. Hey, Stone Spire. He says, come on, boys. We haven't had enough member bombs today. He bumps the line to 230 with 2 singles. We are exactly a 20 bomb away from the next milestone. This guy is the king of baiting the big member bombs. Somebody grant this man's wish. It has been all quiet on the Western Front. Oh, in the UK, it's only 100,000. In the EU, it's 1 million. They're going to get both. They're going to get both. Listen, this is one of those times where any press is good press. All of the drama with Thor catapulted this into everybody's YouTube feeds. Every big streamer, every big YouTuber decided to talk about this. Mash is on vacation. This is true. Hasio is going to get the single. So if somebody does drop a 20 bomb, it's an Agent of Chaos 20 bomb, and those are the best kind. I tell you what. I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna pit you guys against each other. All right. I'm gonna pit you guys against each other. So I'm gonna give Twitch a discount for an hour. So you better watch out, YouTube. They now get a discount. So if somebody over there drops a 20 bomb, it's easier for them to drop. So you better act fast, YouTube. I'm letting Purple cheat because there's less of them. There's less folks watching. So there it is. They got an hour-long discount of 35% off. So a 20 bomb's cheaper for them. I'm gonna see if I can't make you guys fight. The fight's gone from everybody all of a sudden. Jiminy. Death Stranding 2 is just crazy good on the Pro. I played the section last night with all of the fireworks. Listen, I'm going to say it. I think Kojima showed too much. There are big moments still coming that I haven't seen yet. And a 25 bomb comes in from Alex. And it works. And there it is, 256. And that actually is another leapfrog. We are now 20 away from the next milestone of 275. We will see if anybody takes the bait. So That is going to make the contest now 37-31. So YouTube, you just got beat in the daily battle. Are you going to let Purple win again? We shall see. Let me reset the Twitch alerts. It does not like these member bombs. There we go. It'll just keep popping out for every single member. Death Stranding 2 is the best I've played this generation. It's really good. I just think Kojima showed too much. I think he was so anxious and excited. I think it got the better of him. There are really big and significant scenes coming that I wish I hadn't have seen. There's one in particular with Elle Fanning, and I'm like, I really wish you wouldn't have shown that. It's not a cool moment. Now it's going to happen. I'm like, yeah, here it comes. Like, I think he showed too much. I really do. Unless, I mean, obviously it could get bonkers insane on the second half, but you haven't seen anything yet. Even still, I don't like moments like that having their punch taken away. I don't know. Here, I owe 5 over here to Purple. I'm going to do it. What's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. 15 episodes. Even still, if you got 15 episodes of stuff and the first 5 or 6 episodes, I've seen all of the significant moments. Like, for the most part, I've seen all the significant moments. I feel like you've shown too much. I do. If you're getting into Death Stranding 2, I wouldn't watch any more trailers or any more anything. I think he showed too much. It's completely taken the punch out of some of the early stuff. I'm like, I've seen all this. Like, I'm mad. I'm kind of mad that I know everything. It's like, this would have been a lot more enjoyable if I hadn't seen any of this stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't agree with how he handled the marketing. Narwaffle with 3 months. Thank you so much. You shouldn't be spending the bulk of your first, like, how many hours have I played? Let's just look. How many hours have I played? 13 hours. I should not be saying during the opening 13 hours, oh yeah, I've seen this. Oh yeah, I've seen this before. Oh yeah, I've seen this before. Oh yeah, I've seen this before. Some of the best moments, I'm like, yeah, I already saw this. I think he showed too much. The opening, I've been playing for 13 hours, and I've said that multiple times. You watch too much? I didn't watch too much. I'm a live streamer. I covered the stuff. I covered the events. What was I supposed to do? Not watch? Be like, sorry, guys, I don't want to watch. Kojima's going to show too much. You don't know that he's showing too much until it's too late. It's too late. Like, you guys definitely should avoid. I would 100% avoid anything on the game at all. Don't watch a single thing. There's so much more. That doesn't justify weakening the opening 13 hours. Just because it gets better and there's cool stuff I haven't seen, I don't think that justifies my opening 13 hours. I still haven't seen the one cool scene with Elle Fanning, and I know that it's coming. So, like, I'm going to be 15 hours into the game, and I've had most of the potent moments already shown to me. I think that's a significant mistake. Based on what I've seen, he hasn't shown me anything. I mean, it's subjective to the user, but I feel like a lot of the moments that he showed were pretty awesome, and it just neutered the opening a little bit for me. I'm loving the game. I'm not complaining about the game itself. I'm talking about the marketing. When you have really cool moments in the first 15 hours, and I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that a couple weeks ago. Think of it from this perspective. Why do you not watch streamers stream the dadgum game so you can play it on your own? So you don't get spoilers. Well, frickin' Hideo showed me some of the best moments before I ever even had the game installed. Like, he basically was like Streamer Man. You know what I mean? And I didn't know he was going to do that. I was just covering the events and covering the games. And I was like, well, dadgum, he's showing a lot, you know? It was basically like I watched somebody stream the game for 10 hours. You know, the big moments. Like, the little gameplay moments and stuff aren't that important, aren't that, like, spoilery. You're moving packages and driving a bike and, you know, turning a monorail on and stuff like this. So, like, none of that's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe there's a monorail. It's like the story beats and the cutscenes. I don't think he should have shown as much as he did. I think it's different when it's the creator versus a streamer. Sure, you're trusting that he hasn't shown too much, but it's the same thing, though, Eugene. Would you watch somebody stream the first 10 hours of Death Stranding 2 and be like, it's not that big of a deal, there's better things coming? No, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't subject yourself to the potential spoilers. This man walked out and was like, within the first 15 hours, I'm going to show you all the cool moments. Not all of them, but some of the more significant ones. I mean, the section that I did with the fireworks and the guy with the headband, I was like, man, I really wish he wouldn't have shown this. This is spectacular. It is absolutely spectacular. And he kind of shot the wad out really, really early there. You know? I kind of agree with you to the extent the news cycle is more to blame than the marketing. I think that they need to make news for the game leads to overexposure. So the news cycle didn't decide to show entire segments of the game and cutscenes. That was Kojima's choice. There's an entire cutscene with Elle Fanning that he decided to show. There's an entire sequence with the guy with the headband and a whole area that's amazing looking. And he decided to show that. If he's showing you that, what does he have saved up? That's the logic that Eugene and I applied early on. We both were like, holy frick, he's showing so much. What on earth is in the second half of the game? And I'm trusting that it's going to be worth it. My criticism is not necessarily being accurately heard here. I'm saying that doesn't justify neutering the first 15 hours. Do you understand? Right now, I'm not in the end. I'm in the opening 15 hours, and the potency of some of those scenes has been hindered. Oh, it gets better later, though. So what? Those were scenes that would have been cooler if I hadn't known they were coming. Does that make sense? That would be like saying, well, I had the first 3 episodes of the season spoiled for me, but it's okay because the second half of the season gets even better. No, that would neuter your experience of watching those first 3 episodes. I mean it. Like, I've been playing and I'm like, I know it's coming. I know it's coming. I've already seen this. I know it's coming. Yeah, and it doesn't land as strongly. It's not justified by. It's not justified by saying, oh, it gets better later. I'm happy that it gets better later. I'm saying from a marketing perspective, I don't think you should be taking those moments away from the first 15 hours. I think that's a mistake. That's just my opinion. Everybody can have a different opinion on this. But yeah, my opinion is it's like, good golly, like these are some crazy cool moments, and I knew they were coming. So I feel like I'm going through the motions a little bit in some of those sequences. I'm like, well, yeah, you showed this to me already. Good thing you didn't play the 40-hour demo. Well, I think that's a sacrifice those people make as creators. They go to a preview event, they get to play for 40 hours, they get to put those videos out. That's a sacrifice that they make, right? That they've already had those experiences. But they were new experiences when they played them in the preview event, right? They were like, oh my gosh, like they got to experience them brand new. Does that make sense? What would you have shown to sell the game? About half of what he showed. About half. Just the guy putting the headband on alone was enough. Just the mysterious discovery of Elle and like all the stuff going on with her was enough. We didn't need all those other poignant scenes. We didn't need those. Who wouldn't go to Japan for a 40-hour demo, right? I don't understand how Charlie finished the game in 25 hours. What? Huh? That doesn't sound right. Who finished the game in 25 hours? How? That sounds like a typo. I think it was 30 hours when that happened, and I'm just going to suggest to slow down and enjoy the entirety of the game. No, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to like. I'm enjoying the game. and I'm enjoying it at my pace. I would not enjoy it if I slowed down and turned it into an 80-hour game. We're just different players. I'm enjoying a little bit of side, main quest. A little bit of side, main quest. I kind of like do like a ping pong between them. I'm not going to do the marinate thing. I did the marinate thing in Death Stranding 1, and then eventually I was like, I would just like to get to the end now. Like, I don't want to do the marinate thing this time around. He should have shown more walking and more showing off the weather or some of the new gadgets in the game instead of story bits. Then leave the end of the trailer with something cool to keep folks interested. Yeah, it's just a criticism of the marketing. I'm not upset or disappointed with the game. I'm having a perfectly fine time. I'm very much looking forward to getting into the side of the game where I haven't seen anything yet. That may end up working in his favor. That like, okay, now I'm beyond the reach of the marketing. Let's go. Now there's some mystery and some mystique. Because right now, I feel like I'm hacking through stuff that I already know. I've got the Cliff's Notes already kind of in my brain because of how much that he showed. And that makes it like a little less potent. If you skip cinematics, I guess you could have cut a few more hours. Main story is 33 hours. Main story plus sides, 47. Completionist is 77. All styles, 39.5. I have no idea how you would shave this game down to 25 hours. Like, when I do a little side quest, and they're like, thanks so much for doing the side quest, I'll button mash through some of that dialogue. But any major story beats or any main character dialogue, I am listening to because I want to know what's going on. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe skip bosses. Why would you skip bosses? I just passed the third act of Alters and hit a huge story point. Game is freaking fantastic. Really makes you think on how life would be with clones. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed the opening of that game. Guys, if we could get 50 more likes on the video, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. We did a bit of an experiment today. Obviously, we are not running something that's like relevant to like a game or like a gaming topic. This is a little bit more zoomed out, but I greatly appreciate the support that you guys have thrown at the upload. I really do. The live stream's been a bit of an experiment. So what we did today was we threw out an opinion piece at 9 o'clock, a little bit longer. I really enjoyed filming those in that way. Give me your feedback on that style where I kind of just talk. It's a lot less structured, a lot less reedy of a monologue, which makes the videos a little bit longer, but I feel like it's more dialogue. I feel like it feels more like the live stream, which is kind of what we want. I want somebody to watch a video like that, and they're more likely to enjoy the live stream because they're very similar in vibe and tone. So we tried that. We loaded the video up. It went live at 9. I went live 30 minutes later, which the video was like 21 minutes long, and with a little premiere timer, you know, it's almost a perfect handoff. So we went live here at 9:30. So largely today, we've just been doing the refund debate discussion. Now that we've sort of run the gamut, we're kind of out of gas on the topic, which is totally fine. We have gone for almost 3 hours on a single topic. That's like really good, okay? So given this shift and change, we'll only do this when we feel like, okay, news is kind of dry. Let's pull something out that we're really kind of passionate about, an opinion piece that we really want to make, and then let's discuss it. Obviously, from what I'm seeing in the news feeds, we know what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. So I'm not taking questions or commenting on the situation with Xbox, the layoffs, and everything right now. The dust is going to have to settle on that because, boy, oh boy, I'm seeing some very disappointing things. So that will be tomorrow, okay? Which will likely, that potentially is going to be, that might be a scathing opinion piece in the morning. It might end up being one. That's easier for me to record, I'll be honest. I'm really enjoying the last 2 videos that I've made. I made a video about refunds that's live right now, and then I made a video about Xbox hardware proceed with caution. And I felt very good about how they turned out and how it felt to record them. So I hope that you guys enjoyed them as well. And I hope we can continue with that kind of content. Because I feel like it's high quality. I feel like it gives you guys the opportunity to really voice your opinions and interact and kind of hit the ball around. So, gonna go watch both, see you in a bit. Thank you. Thank you. I'll put a link in the chat. If you have not watched the video from today yet, it's getting a little bit of a bump right now, and you guys could help it. So go give it a watch, give it a like, give it a comment, and then come back here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of just let the stream do its thing, all right? We're experimenting with letting the streams be a little bit longer to maybe just help with getting new folks here. Like, that's with if you gift a member, if you upgrade your member, if you hit like, if you're chatting, that helps us find new folks and get more members in the community. That's kind of the goal here, is to foster a community of positive discussions about gaming, and to, obviously sometimes there's going to be negative things that we have to talk about, but we're trying to foster a community of, you know, openness and discussions, and we did that today. Like, we had some interesting back and forth with D-Tom and others that were just seeing things from a different perspective than me. And I think that was really, really enjoyable. Now, we also have a poll on the channel, so there's lots of ways for you guys to engage in these topics, okay? So my poll asked a very basic question. It said, how many video games have you refunded or would have refunded if you could in the last few years? Now, the bulk of you said 1 to 5. So averaging about 1 game a year, I would say, roughly, you guys feel about once a year or so or more, you'd like to refund a game. And then 15%, 5 to 10. Okay? So if you add that 15% to that 17, that's a lot. Okay? And then the 9% for the 5 and the 4 below. So, like, you know, roughly 90% of you are like, it's somewhere between a single game and 10 games in the last couple of years you would have wanted to refund, which is why the video went up today. Right? I wanted to talk about it. And so a lot of the times the poll that you see on the channel may be a bit of a clue into what we're going to be talking about the next day. So if that happens, engage in the poll, leave a comment, and then come the next day anticipating an upload and a live stream about that topic. That gives you guys the opportunity to maybe even go and do a little bit of research and come in here and school me on something. Like, maybe I don't know about something, maybe I'm unaware of something, and you can be like, hey, I kind of knew this is what you were going to be talking about today. So, you know, I decided to go and research it, and maybe you come in and educate me on it. If you're in a relationship with Xbox fan, go ahead and put a ring on that. They are ride or die. Really good opinion piece. Thank you. So what we can do now is you guys can submit questions about pretty much anything that you want. We do have some questions in the hopper. We have one from Elohim. You can use !Q. So just type !Q and then put a space and type a question, and Nightbot will grab it. Elohim says, do you think a class action would work to combat this issue? Well, okay, so class action only works if you have a bunch of people who can claim harm. That's not what we're arguing here. We're not arguing that, like, a bunch of people and gamers and, you know, and all throughout the history of gaming, we're not arguing that a bunch of people have been harmed by these companies. We're saying we're not protected from a bad product. There's, you know what I'm saying? It's a very different way of looking at it. It's like, I'm not advocating for a class action lawsuit like, we want money and we've all been harmed. No, we're not adequately protected, and we should be. Super Googly with the super chat says, the only time I would refund if I bought on Steam and found out later it was actually on Game Pass. I don't like that as a reason, but I mean, I'm obviously not going to tell you to stop. I'm not going to tell you to stop. It's acting like you did 2 super chats. YouTube's drunk. Let me refresh the fan funding page. There we go. Nintendo says, we are unable to provide refunds or exchanges for mistaken purchases and or if you don't like the game. When you purchase digital content in the Nintendo eShop, at the time of your purchase, you continue to Nintendo, beginning with your performance if it's obligations immediately, even if it was a mistake. Great stream, thank you. So Pan, I just said while you were here and could hear me that I would not be talking about the Xbox layoff, so I'm just going to delete your question. You may have not heard me, so I'm saying it again very clearly. I am not talking about that. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. I literally don't have the ability to speak to it right now because I have not had time to research it. I've been in this chair for 3 hours talking refunds and the gaming culture and business around refunds. So I will not be able to speak to that until tomorrow. That will likely be an opinion upload tomorrow as well as a discussion with you guys. So yeah, that I'm not going to put that question up on the board because we're not talking about that right now. Got a comment on my video from Norin So Rad, said this all the way. Digital products are still products that takes money to purchase, and refunds should always be in place. Would definitely hold devs to a higher standard and make them think thrice before just shoving an unfinished product out there. Would benefit us all. Agreed, 100%. Have you talked about Stop Killing Games, or is that too hot topic? No, I literally mentioned Stop Killing Games in my upload, Russell. I actually argue that refunds are the other side of that coin. So Stop Killing Games is basically saying, listen, they can kill a game or take a game from you at any point in time. And I'm like, yep, with the ease that they're able to do that, that justifies me saying I should be able to refund it. If you can take a game away from me, I should be able to give it back. Within reason, right? Not after 50 hours of playtime. I play it for an hour or so and I decide it's bad, broken, buggy, glitchy, or I just don't like it. I should be able to give it back. Right? I think it's the other side of the coin. Now, I also say I believe these situations are equal in severity. I, over the last 5 years, have wanted to refund way more games that have been taken away from me, okay? I was unjustly banned from Destiny. That was taken away from me. It was wrong. I did not break their terms of service. What they did was arguably a breach of contract. That was thousands of hours of playtime and money. It was integral to my business, and they took it away from me, and I never broke the rules. That's unjust. Okay, that's one game, okay? There are way more games that I wanted to refund. I would argue they're equal in severity. Being able to take a game with me, take a game away from me is pretty dadgum severe. Me buying, over the course of 5 years, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 10 games that I wish I could have returned or that were in such bad shape that I should have been able to return them, I think those are equal in severity. They're both pretty significant problems that we need to be protected against. So, the one question that got through was Minch Tree. So, Pan, I'll just answer your question ad hoc. It didn't hit the board because you guys submitted the exact same time. My opinion on Death Stranding 2 right now is it's one of the best games I've ever played. From a technical aspect to the appearance, to the writing, to the soundtrack, to the innovation, to the world, it is fabulous. I'm very much enjoying it. It's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight for Game of the Year. I firmly believe that. I do. So, yeah. Question from AOZ. How about game count for certain genres? One game in Sim or RTS games can blow through 2 hours easily. Again, what you would have to do, AOZ, is you'd have to submit a special request form, like a special request refund form or something, and you would submit it to the storefronts and say, hey, due to the nature of our game, we need this game to only be refundable after an hour, before an hour. If they get past the hour mark, they've consumed too much of the product. Like that would be unjust. And then the storefront would have to decide whether or not they were going to grant the special exception. You're basically asking for an exemption to be made. You're like, okay, our game is too small for this to work, right? Maybe I'm mismentioning it. News about the PS5 Pro with Mark Cerny. Yeah, probably a subject for another day. It seems that the PS5 is going to be getting FSR4 or some version of it. It seems the algorithm that they came up with, they both are going to benefit from it because it got punched into FSR4, and it sounds like it's going to be coming to the PS5 Pro as well. It sounds like PSSR is going to be essentially replaced, which initially that's not what it sounded like they were going to do. When the initial reporting came out about this, I kind of called people out on that. I'm like, Mark Cerny is not saying PSSR is going to be replaced. He said it would be updated. Now he's using replacement language. So it's very likely that the changes are so significant that they're actually going to be like supplanting PSSR, which I'm all for it. If you've been able to develop superior technology with AMD and you can just like update my console, that sounds great. Like I'm all for that. So let's do it. Like, let's do it. If you can get further improvements, I mean, it's kind of like the PlayStation Portal getting cloud and then the list of cloud games growing over time. The value of the Portal just sort of goes like this. It just goes up, and all I ever did was spend the $200. The PS5 Pro, it sounds like to me, its value is going to increase over time. And I made a video about this. I said I think they're just getting started. I really do. It's easier for devs to use one upscaler across all consoles. Right. I again feel like Mark Cerny is doing the thing that prefers the developers. Now, he could have been stubborn and been like, no, cross arms. PSSR is branded PlayStation, and we want that to be out there on the forefront, and you got to learn to use it. And if he's like, well, no, we're going to update it so it's easier for you guys to implement, and you're doing FSR4 on PC and you're doing it on PlayStation, your games aren't going to require that many updates. Well, everybody benefits from that. PSSR was already using the same algorithm as FSR4. It was a stripped-down version. They're basically the same DNA. This is true, Paul, but from the public's perspective, that's not the case. I tried to highlight this last time as well, Paul. I said FSR4 literally exists because of PSSR. They're basically working on the machine learning together, and what they developed ended up benefiting FSR4, and now the ball's coming right back to the court of PlayStation and benefiting PSSR. Like, it's such a great relationship. Now, dollars to donuts, this is going to be spun as PSSR was a failure, Sony doesn't know what they're doing, AMD has saved Sony. I just gave people their thumbnails and their headlines. I hope the ad revenue's worth the dishonesty. That's going to happen. That will 100% happen. This will be false framed and misrepresented as Sony failed, Cerny's a fraud, PSSR has failed, FSR superior, AMD saves the day. There's a week of content for the grifters. There you go. That's free. That's free. Come back and super chat me a portion of the ad revenue on those videos. So yeah, we might do a video or cover that in another time. Minstry says, do you think PlayStation, Xbox, etc. will do some vetting on the quality of the games they sell if customers get the option to get the money refunded? I didn't want to corrupt my upload with this, but the company that has the strongest interest in not letting you refund games, who do you think it is and why? I'm going to let you guys answer the question. If you think about Xbox, and you think about Nintendo, and you think about PlayStation, who has the strongest interest to say refunds would be very damaging to us? And why? Why would it be more damaging to one company than another? Who do you think? I didn't want to invoke comparing platforms in the video. Like, oh, you're a Nintendo this. Like, I didn't want to do that in the video. But if you scratch your noggin for a little bit, I think you can come up with an answer. Nintendo, why do you think Nintendo would be harmed by it the most? Xbox because they don't sell games? Okay. Anybody going to argue that that would hurt PlayStation the most? So we got one vote for Nintendo, we got one vote for Xbox. Who would have the strongest reason to fight against refunds for the consumer in their storefront, easy to use? Dark Knight, you think PlayStation? Okay, why? Argue for each platform. Why you think Xbox refund process is already good right now compared to others? No, it's not. You have to go to a separate website and people get rejected. It's not how it should be. No, it's not good. I don't know why people run with this narrative. There are plenty of people that have shown you can't get refunds from Xbox that easily. It's not good. It's the same way. PlayStation will let you do it sometimes. Like, Nintendo is probably the worst. They don't seem to have any way of doing it. But both PlayStation and Xbox have a means of doing it, and there have been people that have had success. That's anecdotal at best. Probably Nintendo. They never lower their prices, says Nick. Okay. It would hurt PlayStation the most. Why would it hurt PlayStation the most? Their PlayStation refund is bad. Like, if you download it, you can't refund it. Yeah, I tried that. I thought that was stupid. I thought PlayStation should have given me my money back. You can see I didn't play the game. I bought the wrong version of a game on Xbox and got a refund in 30 minutes. Okay, that's a mistaken purchase. That's different. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a refund after playing the game and deciding that it's glitchy, buggy, or you don't like it. So no, I would argue that PlayStation would do the same thing. I've had people report the exact same thing with PlayStation. Bought the game by mistake or bought the wrong version and they got their money back. I've had people report that and have posted screenshots with that. I mean, again, that's anecdotal. I don't think any of the platforms are adequately set up for you to refund, like, at all. I would say Nintendo, look at how bad the games run on the hardware. They wouldn't have a leg to stand on. This is the important part of the Xbox policy. Xbox policy says there are often limits on the number of type of refunds allowed and the monetary compensation that we can provide to each purchaser in a given year. See? That's not good. That's not a refund policy. That's a very, like, every once in a while we'll help you out if something's bad or you make a mistake. I've never asked for a refund from Nintendo. My experience tells me PlayStation stands to refund more. I could be compelled that it would hurt. Hang on one second. Googly with the super chat says, I literally wrote Steam that the game is actually on Game Pass and they refunded me. I mean, Steam will give it to you pretty much every time. You could, like, submit a refund request and be like, the developer insulted my mom a long time ago in a text message. And they'd be like, yeah, that's fine. That's understandable. And they'd give you your money back. I think it would hurt Nintendo probably the most, because I think Nintendo is more consistently shipping games that are extremely popular that run very poorly. So I think you could compel me that Nintendo would get hurt the worst. I think Xbox would be worried because it could undercut Game Pass. If you can essentially try those little indies, those little AA s, those big AAAs, you can try them and refund them if you don't like them. You might have people say, man, that Game Pass Ultimate's kind of expensive. I can save that $20 a month and just start buying games and refunding them. I think it could hurt PlayStation because PlayStation currently sells PS Premium for game trials, and it would undercut that value point significantly because people would be like, well, I'm going to downgrade. I don't need trials anymore. I can buy games and refund them. I think they would all get hurt by this. They all have an incentive to not let you refund easily. Because PlayStation just did an interview where they said they've got great and growing saturation of their highest PlayStation Plus subscriptions. Like their PlayStation Plus, according to their own reports, is doing very well. A refund would hurt premium. It's a minority. They just did an interview. Didn't they just do an interview where, like, it's like they're better at, it's like the better echelon? Upper tiers flourishing. According to reports, the number of PlayStation Plus subscribers who have upgraded to higher tiers has increased over the last few years, according to a newly released report. In a new fiscal year, premium members are 13%. Hang on. 70% of the subscribers were premium and 13% were extra. So they're getting good adoption of the higher tiers. They are. So again, they don't want you to be able to refund because PlayStation would be like, well, that's a value point that suddenly evaporates into thin air. You don't need game trials if you can refund games. You don't need Game Pass if you can refund games. You ain't going to be keeping that crappy Pokemon game on your Switch if you can refund games. They all, I think, have a very strong reason to not let you do this. I actually think, in the grand scheme, I think it would hurt PlayStation the most. Because PlayStation has a larger user base, more potential subscriber loss, if the suddenly refunds became available. I think PlayStation probably has the strongest motivation to not let people refund. I don't think Xbox is as focused on Game Pass as they once were. I think Xbox could stand to leverage this with their very, like, consumer forward marketing they've been doing. You know, we here at Xbox feel like you should play the games where you want and how you want, and we also think you shouldn't be stuck with them if you don't like them. Like, they could fold that right into their customer-leaning marketing. I don't think it would hurt them nearly as much. It would stand to probably hurt PlayStation the most. Nintendo maybe is a close second tie, because Nintendo's going to have a huge platform with the Switch 2 that'll then be bigger than PlayStation. But I feel like PlayStation would be like, this is going to hurt us severely. We have a larger user base, and we're getting good adoption rate at the upper levels of the PS Plus, and there'll be reasons for people to downgrade if suddenly refunds get rolled out. Would it be easier to mandate that all games require a demo? No. Because a refund is purely an action of granting you store credit and then revoking your license, which is extremely easy to do. They can revoke your license at any moment, and giving you store credit, it's not difficult at all. Telling every developer on the planet they have to make a demo, there are developers that would say we can't do that. That would also be very damaging to the development process. They have to waste time and bandwidth making a demo. That's time that's not spent on the main game. Because they would really want to make sure that demo is amazing. The benefit of premium is not game trials. The benefit of premium, and the reason it has increased the most, is because it ties in game streaming. Oh. I mean, I still think they'd view it as a threat, Corey, because it is one of the perks. It is one of the perks of premium, and you don't want your perk to get undercut. Nobody wants their perks undercut. Insomniac Black with a question. So who wins Game of the Year for you, Death Stranding or Expedition? If you made me put money on the table and bet right now, I'm still saying Expedition 33 takes it. Death Stranding 2 is going to make that extremely difficult. I believe this will be the closest race that we have ever seen. I believe it. It's the closest race we're ever going to see, or that we've seen up to now. Like the race between Ragnarok and Elden Ring, it was close, but not this close. This is like winner by a hair. This is like photo finish. I mean it. I'm serious. I genuinely think it's going to be incredibly close. Like whoever wins, I think Keeley is going to highlight the percentage that it won by. Write it down. Write it down. Keeley will highlight the percentage that the Game of the Year won by. Because I think everybody knows it is a kaiju fight of the century between these two games. You thought Elden versus Ragnarok was close? In recent memory, I think it's one of the closest we've seen, yes. It wasn't close with Baldur's Gate 3. It was like a runaway, right? I feel like it was relatively close between Elden Ring and Ragnarok. They were both highly reviewed and highly praised games, yes. This is quite literally a photo finish between the two. I mean it. I think Keeley's going to highlight how close the votes were. Lono is still earlier. As someone who finished both, it's Death Stranding 2 for me, easy. You've got a pretty big hill to climb in the jury process, Corey. Your personal Game of the Year is not in dispute. You can pick whatever you want. You could pick, Blueprints. Doesn't matter, right? That doesn't matter to me. So, but I would argue that they've got a pretty big hill to climb because there's a quantitative advantage that Expedition 33 has. It's been reviewed by more places. It has a higher score, and it impacted people at such a deep emotional level. You've just got a lot of hurdles to get over there. Photo finish. It's going to be down to the dadgum wire, and Keeley's going to say, just so you all know, before we reveal the results of Game of the Year, the game that won only had 1.3% more votes or something. It won by 2% or something, or it only, you know what I'm saying? I literally think he's going to say that when they win. Because, listen, if Death Stranding 2 wins, it's still only going to be by a small margin, brothers. Trust me on this. It's going to be by a small margin. Kojima's not like out in front by a mile when he wins this, if he wins this. If Expedition 33 wins, I'm telling you, it is going to be by a hair. It is. These are two of the best games I've ever played. They are. They are at a caliber almost unseen in the market up to this point. They're both setting bars, and that is an achievement. That is an achievement. So make sure you guys are hitting the like button over here on YouTube. Try to get us a 300 likes. We only need 40 more. They want feedback. Okay, so I pay for VIP service with this plumbing and heating and air company, and I told them, hey, with the recent heat wave, I want to have my HVAC serviced and checked, maintenance, make sure everything's in working order. And they said, okay, you got to wait 2 weeks. We're so backed up. I'm like, okay, that's understandable. They sent out a kid yesterday. He's like, I'm not even equipped to do any of that. He's like, I just run numbers and then tell you how everything's running. I'm like, that's not what I asked for. He's like, well, I'll have to send a real technician out. I'm like, that's what I asked for. And he felt very bad, and the woman on the phone very, very, very bad. And I was very understanding. I was like, simple mistake, I guess. I thought I was clear. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I wasn't clear. Please, can you get somebody out here as soon as possible, given there was a mistake made somewhere. And they are going to have somebody come out tomorrow. Thankfully, the AC's running fine, and the stuff we did to the roof has helped significantly. Sadly, the invoice came for the roof, and it's awful. But it's a good investment in the home. It was needed. What will be game of the year for you personally? I can't say. Right now, it's a tie. I don't know if I'll be able to pick one. It's like asking you to pick your favorite child. Like right now, it's a tie. They're both so good in their own ways. They're so good in their own ways. Like, there are some scenes in Expedition 33 that I still think about from time to time. I still think about them. I do. It's just good. It's just a good game. It had an impact. It's a great time to be a gamer, dude. It's awful until you had to pay for attic repairs and prematurely replace AC systems in the tens of thousands. For sure. For sure. Like, getting a bill right now for $2,000 is so much better than like what you're saying, for sure. Yeah. Googly, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, Nintendo for sure. People get hyped up by the 10 out of 10 thrown out like hotcakes by IGN, and they find out the games actually look like crap. No, I don't think so. User scores for those games are incredible. Like, you have consistently hammered away at the Zelda games, okay? So Breath of the Wild has an 8.9, 25,000. Tears of the Kingdom has an 8.8, 13,000. You're incorrect. People would not be refunding those games and saying, quote unquote, they look like crap. This is simply untrue. Now, there were certainly some games that came out. There was a Pokemon game in particular that came out and ran like absolute dog water. But again, that's not what we're talking about. That's not what we're talking about. Question from Pan says, do you think we are going to see this refund model you are describing? I believe that the only way we are going to see the refund model I'm advocating for is if the government gets involved and enforces consumer protection law that argues for digital items being refundable within a certain period of time. Video games in particular, within a certain period of time. You should be able to refund a movie if you've only watched 30 minutes of it. If it's a 2-hour movie and you get 30 minutes in and you're like, this is awful, you should be able to get your money back. You should. Why not? Why not? It's a transaction of an item that they can refund you, and then they can revoke your access to it. In a 5-year span, I paid $20,000 for a new sewer line. Insurance covered 10. New roof, windows, new heater. Oh, golly. Homeownership's pretty fun. I do have the insurance for the sewer line all the way up to the house. I do pay for that so that I don't pay a dime. Because it's like, they're like, yeah, you pay for it all if there's a problem. I'm like, frick you, I'm not doing that. So I'm covered all the way to the house. Certain amount of time like Steam? Yeah. Yeah, certain amount of time. Exactly. I tell you what we should do. Man, let me check something here. You're acting like Game Pass users. I don't pay a dime. Pays monthly for insurance. I kid. Hey. Those are very different things, Hannigan. That's not a gotcha, you son of a gun. Okay, so let's go back to 320. 1980? 600 an hour. Okay. Oh, 480 right there. Okay. $13,000 for a sewer repair 1.5 years ago. $6,000 in water line replacements. $2,000 for a water heater. $20,000 for total HVAC replacement since 2020. It's so much fun. Ugh. Green room's gonna be insane. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying not to. We might not be able to hold the tide here. We might have to go to green room. I was going to give you guys the option of extending this live stream and just letting you do Q&A and ask questions. We haven't done scrambles recently. Let's say you got 12 minutes. Well, on the hour at 1, we'll shift to green room but if you guys get that to 300, I'll extend. We do need to get back on pace. But if not, we'll go to green room. Well, that might be motivation for you guys to not gift because you're like, we want to go to green room and talk about all this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the answer. We're trying so hard to stay the tide against like what's happening because it's like I want to be able to properly research it and talk about it. 2 masterpieces in 1 year. I thought gaming was dead. That's right. It is. It's so dead that it's more alive than it's ever been. Tomorrow will be a huge day, member-wise as well. I mean, maybe. We can't get consistent results right now in the live environment. YouTube did something. It's our bread and butter, and the turnout's been terrible, and the daily view count on the channel has been terrible. Like, I don't know what happened. They fiddled with something. I've even tried turning on the automatic ads at the beginning of the streams to help, and it just doesn't seem to be helping. So, thankfully, our uploads have turned a corner. The last 2 we've done are doing much better. So that's been encouraging because at least our efforts are being rewarded, at least there. You know. Change your thumbnail tomorrow? I'm not sure what you mean. Hey, thank you so much, Evidence, for doing Evidence, is that an upgrade to VIP? You were a member light, weren't you? I think that's a member. I think that's an upgrade. I'm gonna do it to 259. I'm pretty sure that you were at member light. And that's gonna be 33 to 37. Uh-oh. Well, P-Dub H-Town says, let's do it. Let's do it. A 10 bomb comes in from P-Dub H-Town and gets us to 43, taking the lead away from Purple and taking the count to 269. Nice. Yes, upgrade. There it is. There it is. We're 6 away. We are 6 away. Oh, bait the thumbnail? No. I'm not doing that. I'm not changing our standards with thumbnails and stuff. Stretch goal, Lono's not allowed to use the bathroom for the rest of the day. That would be a bad idea. All right, so you guys can extend the stream. Beat Up H-Town wants to make a run for it. We've got... Is it still a discount over here? Yes, there's 9 minutes left. This is perfect. 9 minutes left. The 35% discount on Twitch. You guys have 9 minutes left of the discount. We have 9 minutes left to get 31 members. You both can contribute. If you hit it, we'll keep talking. We'll keep extending. We'll just vibe and do Q&A or something. Try to get the like count up as well. Try to get us to 300 likes. You guys are crushing it. And Haseo is going to make it really, really easy. He's going to do a single. So it'll be a 5-bomb to 275. So whoever gets it, gets it. I said it wrong. Whoever hits it, gets it. So whoever makes that hit 275 gets the 5 gifted. So we're a 5-bomb. It's up for grabs. Somebody do it. His kitten bladder would explode. You know what's terrible is I switched to this Uwala, and like I drink water so incredibly fast now. I'm constantly having to go to the bathroom. It's because it's got the tip of like you can just like tip like this, like, or you can just do this. You get so much water. It's ridiculous. It's literally like you feel like you're drinking from a hose. Wolf Saints just cashed in 20 grand of viewer points to play a song sample. Yeah, just the tip. That's right. If you don't break the seal, you don't feel I try to sit here and wait. What should I play for you guys? I don't even know. I feel like I've played all of the recent ones. I've got to play a newer one. I can't remember what the lyrics are here. Where does this one turn it up? This one's called The Pain That You Hear. I suppose I could let you guys hear the main portion of the song. It's not on yet, is it? Okay. I gotta turn off my music. We might just play that whole part, actually. Okay. Wait. Oh, okay. I was like, why are we hearing something? Okay, this one's called The Pain That You Hear. I think I wrote this. I think I wrote like the beginning of this by accident. Play that one from Friday. What one? The one that you guys helped me make? I guess we could do that, like You Can't Touch Me or whatever. Okay, yeah. This one's called You Can't Touch Me, and the stream helped with this one on Friday night. It's a great reason to be here on Friday nights. This one's called You Can't Touch Me.
But now you can't touch me with all your words and all your turns. And now you can't touch me with all your reaches and all your leeches. So take a moment to bow and take a moment to drown.
So that's the one we wrote together. Well, we didn't write it together. I write the lyrics, and then I push it into an AI app that makes the music. And so I've honed like a persona with the songs, and I'm trying more and more to use Ocean of Dust as a persona because that's like the best song it's cranked out. Life Flows gifted another one here, and we're at 271. You guys have 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes to get this to 300, and we will extend the stream. You also have 5 minutes left on your discount Twitch. Okay, I see you, big dog. So I have created, with the help of AI, I've created like over 40 songs or something stupid like that. We're trying to get ready. Creature spent a little bit of money today to bring these to life in video form. We're going to launch a channel with the music on it. So all the lyrics are original to me, but I'm not a musician. I mean, I can play the drums, sort of. I've not touched a drum set in like 20 years. And so this is a way for me to like cathartically kind of like bring my lyrics to life. So it's been incredibly cathartic, and I don't feel like a prolific person, but like I can't stop writing. So right now I'm working on a song called Court of Jesters. That one's the one I'm currently working on. So All right, you guys have 4 minutes. Life flows and Haseo and everybody has thrown their weight behind it. We still haven't hit 275. Whoever hits it gets it. I'm going to gift you guys. You got a few minutes left on the discount over there. Probably you have 3 minutes for the scramble. 3 minutes. Throw hammer time in there. Oh, on You Can't Touch Me. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The only problem with You Can't Touch Me is the guitar right at the beginning is not exactly, it's extremely similar to Ocean of Dust, but they're different enough that I don't care. Like, once you're 30 seconds into the song, they're completely different. So I'm like, it's okay. Sometimes when you use the template of another song to do another song, it mimics it too much. This one's like, yeah, okay, you can hear it, but you put them in different places on the album and it'll be fine. Have we lost our sync? No, okay, we're not. We're good. Sometimes the YouTube chat desyncs and I can't see it. Okay. All right, 2 minutes, boys. 2 minutes. And we're going to green room. If we don't get to 300, P-Dub H-Town helped and some other people helped. You guys now have 2 minutes on purple and the discount's going to go away. I gave you guys a bit of an advantage over there. Reminds me a bit of Amity Affliction. I've been told it reminds people of like 10 different bands at this point. I just have enjoyed doing it. It's just fun. I just enjoy it. I do. It's very cathartic. It's very cathartic. Like Hilly said on Friday. He said on Friday when he heard the music, he was like, "Oh, he's still really going through it. He's still got some issues." Are you planning on publishing your songs on Spotify? I think we're planning on doing that, Demins. It costs money to do that. It costs money to do that, unfortunately. And so we don't want to do that right away. We want to make sure, we go through all the process and get everything set, So, all right, 60 seconds left. It looks like we're not going to do it. Let me get the green room scheduled. I do need a break. I'm dying here. I am dying here. Let's see. So member plus or higher for 1 o'clock. Schedule it. Set up redirect. And I'll take a brief break. I'll come back. I won't send you guys to green room until I get back. I wanted to give you guys the full extent of the discount. 60 seconds on the discount and counting. You have a minute left on Twitch. Okay. Let me set up redirect on YouTube. Redirect to green room. Pa-pow. There we go. The Microsoft layoffs are bad. I bet that they are. Okay, I will be right back. I'm going to hit some ads here at the end. D says, who does the Oceans of Dust song you mentioned earlier? Oceans of Dust is my song. I wrote the lyrics and the AI made it, and I think it's the best song that it's kicked out. So I use that. I'm trying to use that now as the persona template for new music. Because I think it's just so good. For a while I was always using Cry Wolf or Smiling Face or a song called Your Heart. Okay, I'm going to put a link in chat for the green room. This is intended for YouTube. You guys on purple, I'm going to set this chat to sub only. Okay, there you go. Okay. All right, there's your link to green room. Thank you guys so much for being a direct supporter of the channel. Member Plus and above has continued to sort of be stalled out in like the mid 500s. So if you're watching the tail end of the previous broadcast, upgrading to Member Plus is enormously helpful to what I do. I know it doesn't seem like it would be, but it is. It's a $6 membership. It pulls people out of that gifted pool. There's always like 2,000 to 3,000 people just hanging out in the gifted pool. We would love to see you join us for these green rooms. I'm going to end the previous stream and redirect folks over. If you can't come with us, consider upgrading. Let me change that thumbnail.